Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Welcome, everyone, the supporters, everyone who's tuned in. Be sure to interact. Drop your comments in the live chat. This is To The Square Boxing Recap number 7. And, man, you know what it is? We have to talk about what went down last night. And I know I said boxing recap, but, of course, I have to throw in the main event that happened over in the UFC between Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis. You know, so I'm waiting for a couple more people to get in here before we kick this off. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully everyone is doing great on this Sunday. You know, we got to talk about the Maestro and Fox fight. However they pronounce his last name, Gabriel Mastre. I know it ain't Maestro, but Mastre or what have you, and Michael Fox, a bit of controversy there. You know, Fox earning a knockdown during the fight. But yet when the scorecards came back, you know, they wasn't in the favor of Michael Fox, and he was pretty confused, you know what I'm saying, and shocked a bit. But we'll get on that. We're going to talk about Kid Galahad, Stantionis, and Collazo. That fight was stopped earlier for a cut. You know, Collazo was, looking strong in the early rounds, but it's a fight. You know what I'm saying? They had several more rounds to go, and I feel if he wouldn't have the fight hadn't been stopped by a cut, it would have been stopped via TKO, because Stantionis was pretty much touching Collazo up pretty nice, you know, in the early rounds. But Collazo was holding his ground, you know. He was giving a good account of himself. Wait for a couple more people to jump in here so we can rock. Hopefully everyone is doing great, man. While I wait for other people to come in and start talking about the fights, man, salute to everyone who support the channel as always. You know what it is. Hit the like button if you choose to. I'm not going to plead and beg with grown adults to hit the like button. If you support, you support. I rock with you. It's all good. Appreciate to the day ones, the individual who dropped through and kick it with me every time. It's all good. I appreciate your company and the boxing education that we're able to have a dialogue between one another. Hey, shout out to the Tokyo Olympics. Look, the Tokyo Olympics came and went, And it was one of those Olympics where you tried your damnness to pick out your favorite sports and tune in. But according to what channel, you had to really go through and try to record the damn things to catch, the sports that you wanted to see. I like track and field myself. I like the track and field aspect of it. The basketball part of it comes about second or third. I know people was ranting and raving that the U.S. Team had lost, and it's been a long time since they lost to a team, but they really came in there and showed their dominance when it was time, especially for the gold medal game, and they did it convincingly. So shout out and salute and congrats to the U.S. basketball team. As far as the track, there were highlights in track and field, of course, and when it comes down to the U.S., I don't know what to say. At one point in time, we was considered a powerhouse when it came to the sprints. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't really get that this year, even though we took home the 4x400 gold standard in male and female. I was happy. I like the 400. I used to run the 4x400 in high school. I was happy with that. But most of the people, they love the 4x100. And we did terrible in the 4x100. I mean, we have a distinct history of not being able to pass baton. And that is the fastest relay you can run. You know what I'm saying? That is the fastest relay that you can run. And Italy shocked everybody. The U.S. wasn't even nowhere close. I don't even think we went to the finals. I don't know. But individually, you had some individuals to stand out. I don't know if you've seen let me find out the event I'm talking about. No, the women's 400. I mean, no, the 400 meters. We picked up gold in that, and a world record, which was great. I think it was the hurdles. Sydney McLaughlin, women's 400 meter hurdles. And shout out to the women's basketball team too. The men and women's basketball team both took home the gold standard. Salute. You know what I'm saying? Congrats to that. I know it was a female shot putter, US. She took on the first gold medal, I believe. Valerie Allman, it was a discus. Gold medal home in the discus. Valerie Allman. It was some highlights in this Olympics, but god damn it, it was one of those games that I was looking past. Like the next one is going to be in Paris. I don't know what was going on with the vibe and the energy from this Olympics, but it's just certain individuals you thought that was going to perform, like Noah Lyles. He was really one of those faces that was supposed to dominate his races, his sprints. He didn't come through. I don't know if he had an injury. I just don't know if he had, his body wasn't ready or prepared for the Olympics, because these runners, they run track meets all the time. But he wasn't able to get that gold standard like he thought he was in his events. And Lyles, he runs the 200 meter and the 100 meter. So he wasn't able to come through in that. But I'm pretty sure they'll be back. And I forgot the guy in the 100 meters. but he also lost for the U.S. He came in a place and didn't qualify for the finals. He didn't even qualify for the finals. You know, I forgot what his name is, but he had injuries over a period of time, but he's been trying to come back. And he qualified for the Olympics, of course. But in the Olympics, um, he wasn't able to even qualify. It looked like he was, I don't know what it was. Did they run him down, or he just didn't have the back end strength to cross the finish line, keep that speed up and cross the finish line in a qualifying position, So that was a situation too, man. That was a situation that was kind of questionable to me also. Shout out to David Taylor. I had a chance to go to cover the men's Olympic wrestling team before they went off to the Olympics. David Taylor ended up winning gold. You know what I'm saying? And Gable Stevenson ended up winning gold. Both of these guys pretty much closed out their match, man, being down. They had mere seconds before they had to score. In wrestling, you going in there, it's tough to get, to score points when you have like 15 seconds remaining. I mean, usually your opponent knows what to do. You know what I'm saying? They know how to defend. These are high-level elite wrestlers. And the fact that he was able to score points and get a takedown, a double leg in the last remaining seconds and win the gold is crazy, y'all. You just don't know how that is. But shout out to the Olympic wrestling team. It was a pleasure covering y'all. I really didn't, cover it on my channel yet because I was waiting to see what they placed. But, I put some pictures up on my Facebook, of David Taylor. I wasn't able to get Gable Stevenson, that won. He's named after Dan Gable. You know how much of a legend Dan Gable was, but Gable Stevenson did the exact same thing, man. He was able to score, I believe, 3 points, 2 or 3 points in the final seconds of the bout, man. And that shit was crazy. Never quit or give up. For real. But anyway, that guy, Eclipse 330. What's going on, Michael? How you feeling, bro? OG, what's good? I couldn't believe they robbed Michael Fox like that. Mac of the South, what's good? Salute World Combat Sports. You know what it is. Let's talk about that, man. You said I couldn't believe. You have to believe that, Michael. You have to know that is one is one sprinkle to the recipe of boxing. That is the spice in the gumbo when it comes to boxing. We see it all the time. They're pushing Gabriel. They're pushing this dude 3-0. Now we have conversations like this all the time behind the scenes where you try to convince people that a fighter with that experience can go in there with a fighter that's 22-2. It's possible. It's extreme. And look, it's very, very possible. Because they look at the background, and then we're going back to Vasil Lomachenko. We're not talking about Maestro, Mastre, or whatever his name is. Matter of fact, let me do my due diligence because I did before. But let me do my due diligence once again. Let me pause for a second. Let me get this guy name right. Okay. You always like to do Maestre. That's his name, Maestre. Okay. Not Maestro, Maestre. Okay. Talking about Maestre, right? It just takes me back to Vasil Lomachenko, who was promised a title fight in his second professional fight. And I guess that failed with Orlando Salido. He's kind of the same. His Olympic history, two-time Olympian. And they pretty much is pushing this guy, because his record is 3-0, but they push him because his amateur experience, which elevates him a bit more than just the average amateur guy coming over here without that Olympic experience. So he gets to go in there with the experienced veteran. It's 22-2. I mean, come on, you got to give it to Michael Fox. He is much more experienced than Maestre. What happened during the fight with Maestre being dropped and the back and forth exchanges between these two, the fight was pretty decent, for real. I know that a lot of people, including myself, was picking Maestre to win against Fox. I was. But, I mean, looking at the fight and everything, I felt that the work rate of Maestre, the total punches thrown and the total punches landed, and, earning that knockdown, and his overall performance in the fight was enough for him, Fox, to defeat Gabriel Maestre. Why did it come up on the judge's scorecard with one judge having it 117-110? Yeah, you heard me right. Then we just go through a process where we had a judge with a large margin like that, and it doesn't matter if the fans are booing these judges. The judges have to answer to the commission, and sometimes the commission, they really downplay stuff like that because, once again, people don't want to acknowledge that sometimes these fights have intentions that's predetermined. You know what I'm saying? They have the fighter that they want to win in the fight. It happens all the time in boxing. But when you mention the F word, the word fixed or predetermined, premeditated, people get mad about it. But that fight last night is just another example of you don't have to wrap your hands to get a black eye in boxing. You don't have to put gloves on that motherfucker. You don't even have to throw a punch. You don't have to wrap your hands, put gloves on, none of that shit. Because sometimes these fights, if it's a point for them to go to the judges, it may indeed be predetermined to give it to the fighter that then earn the victory in the ring. That's just the way boxing is, man. Let's not talk about freaking like this is a shocker. This shit happens all the time. It's disgusting, man. It's going to the dance, man, with no music. I like looking at fights on mute a lot. And then I cut it on when the decision is about to be read. And I'm able to catalog everything and retain what I've seen. And then to go to the scorecards and see Michael Fox, in my opinion, lose the decision through extreme favoritism, biasness. You know what I'm saying? Deceptiveness. It's nothing that we haven't seen in boxing. It's just another just another notch where boxing shows and rears his ugly face. And Fox is one of those guys. We even seen it in the amateur with some of the big names in the sport. Floyd Mayweather cried when he was robbed. Roy Jones Jr. cried when he was robbed. So if they're being robbed in the amateurs like I've seen myself, then guess what? They're going to get robbed in the professionals. In the professional ranks, period. Andrew Charles in the building, salute. What's good on this Sunday? Boxing looked the fans right in the eyes and gave them a middle finger with the Fox decision last night. They looked them in the eyes and said, F you. We do what we want over here in boxing. We do what the fuck we want. I see Michael up top that mentioned something about the Fox decision. I see Charles got a problem with the Fox decision. You know what I'm saying? And they're in they're in their own right to know what they watched. They see boxing enough to know that decision wasn't warranted, man. That was fucked up. They're trying to once again pull off the Lomachenko effect. They're grooming this guy from his Olympic pedigree to come in here and raise him up. Come on, man. What title they was fighting for again? What title they was fighting for? So the man went in at 3-0 against a 22-2 fighter and earned a chip through a controversial decision. It takes me back to freaking Rolly Romero and Jackson Mariñez. Same shit. But it's all about who Rolly Romero was signed with. So it's just so many variables that convolute boxing that the results come out like they did against Fox and Maestre. Rolly was signed to Mayweather Promotions, and they fought in Connecticut. And we all know that was one of the biggest robberies. Come on, man. Anyway, Big Dog, salute WCS, slapping us in the face again. Yes, sir. As always, salute the big dog in the building. Salute the Mark Nash. What's good? But yeah, we need to really take a look at that. You know, you boxing fans, you know, the hardcore boxing fans. I say this all the time, right? It's a reason why I follow multiple dual sports in this game, because if you just, in my opinion only, if you just truly just follow boxing all the time, it's a very stressful relationship to have. It's dysfunctional, and what you demand of it, you'll never get. You know what I'm saying? Boxing will cheat on you, for real. It's no commitment. It's no integrity, no loyalty when it comes to boxing. Boxing would cheat on you at any given moment. If you choose to keep her close and have that relationship and think, hey, this is everything I've been looking for and more, and you want to slow dance with boxing, be willing and able to accept the repercussions and consequences throughout the trials and tribulations of this relationship. Because we've seen it again. Fox, I don't want to use the rob word, but I truly believe he was dead wrong against Maestre, a fighter that they're trying to raise up that now has a freaking belt. And it's a bit crazy, because the more punches that was landed was from Fox, you know what I'm saying? And the more punches thrown was from Fox. Damn, I missed the fight, but from what I'm hearing, I'm glad I did. I hate to see people get robbed, especially if it was one-sided, like y'all saying. You know, the man was able to drop a two-time Olympian. You know what I'm saying? It was some people believing that Michael Fox was going to get stopped in that fight, but he didn't. You know, the taller fighter, in some areas of the fight, he did fight. He was able to fight his height, use his reach. And when he earned that knockdown, I guess it was a left hook, I would think. I believe it was a left hook, a left cross. He was able to drop him. Maestre reminded me a bit of Regis Prograis. You know what I'm saying? Just a bit. Nothing against Regis Prograis. You know what I'm saying? Rougarou. Shout out to Rougarou. But El Capitan, he needs a bit of work and continue to work on his craft. That's all. You know what I'm saying? He just needs a little bit more work. This is a professional ranks, and he is a two-time Olympian. So I'm guessing and praying that his career doesn't continue and they show favoritism just to raise him up. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like they're trying to give that Lomachenko royalty. I'm just saying. The man was 3-0 and he got a favorable decision, which was extremely biased. That's all I'm saying, bro. But tell me what y'all think, man. Appreciate the comments in the box, man. What y'all think about this fight that happened yesterday for the interim WBA title, and Maestre defeated Fox, who I felt won the fight. And you know, fighters are going to accept the title regardless. People are going to tell them, if you have a title in this sport, it's going to earn you more money. You know, plus it goes down on your boxing ledger as you being a champion. This day and time, boxers will wear an interim champion, you know, a championship, just like they would a super title. Perfect example, Rolando Romero. He went around, you know, he still will praise his win of Jackson Mariñez as if it was, you know, pure and there was no controversy attached to it. And then you look at this is kind of the same thing. It's controversy attached to your interim title. Two different divisions, but they're still the same sanctioning body, the WBA. Now, let me kind of roll over what is going on with the WBA. We have two controversial fights, right? That happened, you know, with Gabriel Maestre and Rolando Romero. Okay. This was welterweight, of course. This was a welterweight. And then you look at Romero with his lightweight victory. But check this out. The president of the WBA has said, when I was reading this article, he wants to sometime in October begin to reduce, you know what I'm saying, the amount of belts that he has in his sanctioning body. Now, we want to see this happen. It's been spoken about several times on cleaning up the sport. So what they want to do potentially is get rid of the belts, such as the interim title that Gabriel Maestre has just won. They want to get rid of the WBA regular title, which so many fighters out there have right now, and they treat it just like, oh, it's a world championship. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They treat it like it's a super title. You know? So the WBA president, Mendoza, he's put the word out there that his plan is to somewhat reduce. He don't know how it's going to go. You know, he's put the word out there. He's committed and made mention to the boxing fans that he's trying to reduce the belts in the WBA, which is a good thing. They're trying to, outside of the super title, they're trying to elevate the gold status, the WBA gold title. All right. From my understanding, they're trying to expunge the interim WBA title and the WBA regular title. So we'll see how that works, man. We'll see if both of those titles are expunged from the sanctioning body, the WBA sanctioning body, and they keep the WBA super title and they keep the WBA gold title. You know what I'm saying? A lot that goes on in boxing has been for quite some time the format. So when you look across the board from the WBC to the WBO, you see a format. You have you used to have the world title, you know what I'm saying? And then you had the interim. Over the years, that shit has changed. You have so many from the WBC to the WBA, respectively, those two sanctioning bodies. The IBF and the WBO, not so much. So if one of the two is willing to change, that being the WBA, let me ask y'all this. How do you feel about the effect it would have if Mendoza, the WBA president, makes those changes? I mean, they always talking about a change to start somewhere, right? Do you believe that it's going to provide an essential effect in boxing will you be able to see, you know what I'm saying, in that particular sanctioning body, fighters being able to fight the best now with two of the titles gone? Will we be able to see the ranking fighters in there, the best fight the best? Will the change in formation present better results in that sanctioned body? That's my question. Do you believe him, basically expunging these titles from his sanctioning bodies? Will it be a conducive start to cleaning up the sport when it comes to all these titles? And also, being that next door is the WBC, will they even follow suit? Will they even follow suit? Will Mauricio Suleiman even consider following suit with all the titles that he has in his sanctioned bodies? We'll see. But be sure to drop your comments in there, because when it comes down to cleaning up the sport, there's been several big names to speak about it. There's been boxers who speak on it, but ultimately, when it comes down to decisions like we've seen with Michael Fox and Gabriel Maestre, when a title is involved, we're seeing corruption at its best. We're seeing fighters get robbed when they go in there and perform. It's tough going to motherfucking training camp. It's tough as shit to go in there and take punches and sparring. Put in the work and everything to split the ropes and go in there and fight your heart out to get robbed in the end. Boxing, oh my God, man. I don't think prayer has anything to do with it when it comes to cleaning up the sport of boxing. I believe when I'm gone way in the future, I believe boxing, the structure of it will somehow be changed. You know what I'm saying? It will be a much more organized type of sport. It's going to have to start with restructuring. I mean, it's going to have to start from the powers that be to somewhat either condense their roles in the sport. I don't know. We cannot have everyone just having free hand in the sport of boxing and expect the shit to continue to entertain the fans. And the level of respect, is what people wanting to see the sport increases over a period of time, because there's a lot of people that's digressing from watching boxing, especially when it comes to big fights. Like the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury. A lot of fans was deflated when this fight didn't happen July 24th. So if you take one of the grandest fights and then you attach that, to the disappointment that went on with Tyson Fury and his antics and scandal, and then you add on the fact that a lot of people have been wanting to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. They've been deflated from that fight not coming close to happening. And then we even take, a couple of rungs higher from the welterweight division, and we go to the super middleweight, right? And we see Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant fight being postponed to potentially November. It's just always heartache. It's extreme heartache when you stay this close to boxing and we are let down. We get our hopes up. Some people who may bet on boxing or hardcore fans that, that's really close to this sport as a dedicated fan, they put all the energy. The media that's on here and on the YTC, they make all the thumbnails and produce the live streams to talk about, and then the fight doesn't happen. It's very tough, man. It's just constant heartache after heartache after heartache. When it comes to the sport, especially stemming from July 24th until, what I'm saying? This Caleb Plant, unifying the division. Why couldn't it go down as smooth as Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez? That, that just goes to show you every undisputed fight isn't the same. That fight was able to happen after a postponement, but it happened, and Josh Taylor's the undisputed junior welterweight champion. So what are we looking at with all the other divisions in the 4-belt era? Why is it so difficult to make these fights, man? You're talking about Terrence Crawford and Josh Taylor at 140. Who else has been able to do it as of recent? You know what I'm saying? In the more popular, more notable divisions in boxing. Why does it have to be so much controversy when it comes to Canelo and Caleb Plant? Why is there so much controversy in the heavyweight division? Why does it have to be extreme amount of scandal that's attached to this? It's, why are we continuing to ask why when it comes to boxing, man? I'm serious. Because I'm going to tell you, in the UFC and Bellator, the fight that you get with these up-and-coming prospects, they fight the rank fighters in the division, then they get their title shot, period. That's how it works, man. You can't sit up here and say nothing else. That's how it works. That's how it works, people. That's why I've been putting it out there that it's okay to collectively cross-thread combat sports when it comes to your support, especially if you're media. It's okay to cross-thread. So if you want to watch boxing, you want to watch MMA, go ahead and do so. You're going to get education from both spectrums. You know what I'm saying? You just don't have to say you're a hardcore boxing fan like that's some type of prestige. That shit isn't prestige. Believe me. You know how many hardcore boxing fans are out here? You know how many hardcore boxing voices that are out here speaking on this game? But ultimately, in the end, when it comes to boxing, it's full of heartache because the expectations that you put into it, and you think this fighter is going to fight this fighter, it all boils down to what are you receiving more? What hurts you the most? Trying to see a prospect or a rising contender continue to build a record and they fighting mid-level fighters, or you consider yourself a hardcore fan and the best comes up, one of the top tier names comes up to fight one another, and somehow, some way, there's a robbery or the fight doesn't happen. So which one are you inhaling the most for? Your fighter rising up through the ranks, or the best fighting the best and never happen, or it's a robbery in the end? Which one lets you down the most? Which one of those builds up the most anxiety when you talk about boxing? And this has been going on for decades, people. Stop acting like this shit has just begun. In order for you to be a hardcore, just a single, as boxing as being a single directive in what you support in combat sports, it builds. How would I put this? What's the word I'm looking for? It builds up your tolerance. Boxing builds up your volume of tolerance when it comes down to it. Because if you stay truly really close to boxing as your number one dedicated sport that you follow, it builds up your tolerance, just like an alcoholic. I'm serious, people. It builds up your tolerance as an alcoholic, just as an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? They drink, and they can drink more and more and more, but it's still punishing you. It's still taking you through an extreme measure of mental letdown. How many times behind closed doors you gonna shake your head and say, you know what, that was a robbery? But should I speak of it on my platform that it was a robbery? What are my audiences gonna say? Will they feel the same? You know what I'm saying? That it was a robbery, or that's just the way boxing goes. You never want to sit up here and say, well, I'm going to overlook the fact that this was another fixed robbery. I'm just going to put it out there in a political sense to say, you know what? It happens in boxing. Don't feel so down about it. These type of decisions happen in boxing all the time. That is why you support boxing, because it has trials and tribulation. It keeps you on your toes. Bullshit. I don't even want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it. Stop it. Stop it, man. Stop it. Spence better go for the KO against Manny is all I'm going to say. It's hard work being a boxing fan. Andrew Charles hit it on the head, man. Real talk. It is hard work being a boxing fan. It is hard work. But we can talk on Spence. If Spence go the distance with Manny Pacquiao, forget about Manny Pacquiao being a legend. We already know that. That's been established years ago, that he's a boxing legend and he's did everything he should have in his career. With him being knocked out early on in his career at the lighter weight, all the way up to now. You know what I'm saying? Even with Juan Manuel Marquez knocking him out face first, stretching him, closing the lights out. You seen in the status of Manny Pacquiao, when they speak of him in his career, they don't bring that up much. They just continue to provide that royalty because Manny's a good guy. There's been speculation of paired use, but he hasn't really been brought to the carpet with a dirty test, right? Floyd Mayweather wanted him to test, Olympic style testing. There's been talk about it, but he didn't get the positive test that people was looking for. So over time, the question has been asked about Manny Pacquiao. How do you elevate division to division as long as you've been able to and still be successful in a sense? That's been a big question with Manny. But as a person, I like Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? I like Manny Pacquiao as a boxer. He has put on some very entertaining fights in his career. He did go in there and take it to Keith Thurman. But I'm just curious as to know what was the extent of his testing with Lucas Matisse, Adrian Bronner, and, leading up to the Keith Thurman fight. What was the extent of his drug testing? That's all I want to say. Don't get on here, just dropping all this, negativity that I'm hating on Manny Pacquiao. I'm not. I've been around Filipino boxing fans, some of the most loyal in the sport. They support. Look, if it's Manny Pacquiao or any other high-profile Filipino fighter, the Filipino nation, I'm talking about households, they will basically have a boxing party, fight party like no other. I've been to Filipino residents where they have like 12 to 15 dishes of food, all for a boxing match. That's how they support their own. That's why you have fighters this day and time saying, oh, so-and-so has a country behind them. So-and-so has a country behind them. They feel that country is going to somehow fluff their monetary pillow to make more money. So that's why they don't hesitate to sign a fight with some of these fighters from Mexico, the Philippines, and all that shit. But when it comes to Errol Spence taking this fight with Manny Pacquiao, it would have been great, people, if Errol Spence was fighting Manny Pacquiao for the WBA title. It would have been absolutely great to allow a 3-belt unification to be a part of this August welterweight championship fight. It would have been awesome, man. With all the disappointment that we received, it would have been good to get some type of relief. You feel me? Like it would have been great to get some type of relief with this Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao 3-belt fight. Because ultimately, for those of you out there that's smart, intelligent, like the ones in the chat, we would identify that this takes us a step closer to what? Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. If Errol Spence has 3 of the belts, the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF, because I'm prognosticating he will defeat Manny Pacquiao, then guess what? The fight between him and Terrence Crawford would have been much more intriguing to bring it closer together. That's all. Kano Local Sports in the building. Salute to you. Y'all definitely check out Kano Local Sports channel over there, man. Check him out, support him, subscribe to his channel, man. But it would have been great for boxing to appease us in that sense and just say, you know what? God damn it, let's somehow, some way. You know, somebody had to be on the receiving end. And somebody had to be left alone. And we all know Yordenis Ugas would have been the one that's left alone in that particular scenario. I look at it like this. I mean, how did you receive the belt in the first place? Vice, if they was to reinstate. Don't put Manny Pacquiao in recess for whatever godly reason, because if you look at the rules and regs on recess, he wasn't injured like Devin Haney, who had a legitimate reason to be put on recess. And it wasn't anything outside the scope of boxing. We truly don't know why Manny Pacquiao was put in recess. So that might have contributed to him not being able to be reinstated as the WBA super champion. I thought that was enough. Seriously, I thought that was enough. With the magnitude of that welterweight fight, when it comes to boxing politics, I thought it was enough for them to say, you know what, let's reinstate Manny Pacquiao as the WBA champion and let's abridge, you know, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, this belt system that we're looking for, 3 championships on the line this month. Let's do it. So just like all the scandal that's going on with Fury Wilder, for them to try to make Fury Joshua undisputed, why isn't a little, you know, so much scandal with these sanctioning bodies getting together, these promoters, whatever, not sanctioning bodies, these promoters getting together to make this welterweight fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford? I know what people are saying. Fury Joshua will make triple the amount of money that Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford will make. They're bigger names in the sport. They are. Seriously. Errol Spence's name isn't bigger than Deontay Wilder, Fury, and Joshua. It's not. No matter what the popularity is on how you support Errol Spence, it's just not the case. People may talk as much shit as they do about Wilder, but they still want to see him get in the ring. They just know how dangerous it is. And then when it comes to Fury, they know Fury can go in there and box the way he is, and he can set the tone and force the pace. And, you know, he can pretty much dictate how he wants the fight to play out in some cases. And then, of course, Joshua, one of the most protected heavyweights in the sport. They're trying to make this grand heavyweight fight. But why can it not be scandal when it comes to the welterweight division? Why are they trying to do it so clean? We're going to stick by the rules and regulations, therefore set within the sanctioning bodies and the promoters. We're not going to go to extreme to make. Why are you not pushing the envelope with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford? God damn it. Let's get this shit over with. We have too much that's not happening when it comes to the welterweight division all the way to the super middleweight division. Big Dog say facts. Just add another Ugas fight before Crawford unification. Maybe, Big Dog, you should submit. You should submit that comment to the positions of authorities, man. Maybe it may make sense. You know what I'm saying? Suggestions from the boxing public up to these individuals. Because I'm like looking for scandal when it comes to the welterweight division. Because it was on fire so much at one point in time, that shit just fizzled out. But then when it comes to Manny Pacquiao being reinstated, why not? Manny Pacquiao is such a bigger name than Yordenis Ugas. Why not collectively show him that last ounce of royalty, reinstate Manny Pacquiao as the WBA, so Errol Spence can at least have 3 belts going in there with Crawford. There'll be no ifs, ands, or buts. 4-belt system. Once again, we just had Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez. Let's have Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Period. Whatever you have to do. Why couldn't it happen, people? Why couldn't it be a certain level of scandal or boxing politics when it comes to the welterweight division? That is the biggest question. Because I don't get it. Like, so much emphasis and premeditated planning was put into the heavyweight sabotage of Wilder Fury rematch, right? Why can't we have that trickle down to the 147-pound division and have at least the first fight? Somehow, some way, we're trying to make the first fight before these guys are coming back in their 40s for an exhibition. And then the announcers up there saying, you know what? I remember 10 years ago when we used to speak about this fight. And actively, Spence was the unified champion at the time. And Terrence Crawford was the WBO champion, 3-division champion. And they used to speak about this fight all the time, but it never happened. But now, outside of their prime, they're coming back to fight one another in the exhibition bout. You know, the bullshit that's behind this. The puppetizing of the boxing media. Boxing audience. It has everything to do with the strings, dangling the strings, teasing us on these fights. We thought Terrence Crawford was going to be fighting Sean Porter. We thought Terrence Crawford, may fight Keith Thurman, but they saying Keith Thurman was lowballed by Terrence Crawford. And then the most energy that Terrence Crawford in a long time got from a big name. And you have to say Gary Russell Jr. Mr. Gary Russell Jr. is a big name. That's the most heat that I've heard that came close. When Mr. Gary Russell Jr. was saying, you know what, I'll move up to fight Terrence Crawford. And people was up here telling me, oh, man, no way. You can't go from featherweight all the way up to 147. You can't do that shit. But that's the most heat that people invested their energy and time to each and every day, was to see if Gary Russell and Terrence Crawford was going to fight. That conversation generated way more temperature than anybody in the welterweight division that's currently competing in his class. And that guy is at 126 pounds. No other fighter, Kell Brook then, Sean Porter didn't generate that shit. Let me advise you something, to make your stay as a boxing supporter a bit more healthier, right? And we have 6 individuals in the building. I salute all 6 of you that's in the building. I appreciate you. Let me advise you of something when it comes to boxing. When you see the storyline and it says a certain boxer, sub-name boxer, is in talks with this sub-name boxer, don't believe none of that shit. Don't get your hopes up too high when they talking about so and so. Because I'm switching in between topics because this is To The Square Boxing Talk, fight recap. I'm gonna get the Kid Galahad. You know what I'm saying? He won his fight. I'm gonna get to that. Salute to him for picking up a title. It's been a long time coming. I'm gonna get to him. But check this out. Please take this advisory for thought. When you hear or read that subject name fighters in talks with another fighter, all it is the same BS that you heard when Eddie Hearns released that, oh, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury has agreed. Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury has signed the contract. Just don't put your entire effort of investment into believing these boxing freaking titles and this charade that is put out there. All it is just to tease you, puppetize you, have you on dangling on their string with hope, only to clip them motherfuckers when you're over a cliff of anxiety. They just hold you out over the cliff and they cut the strings and let your ass drop to the damn bottom. You down there, broken bones in the basin, nothing around until nightfall. You there, can't fucking move. Your back is broken. Then all of a sudden, you see the scavengers come out and they ready to feed off your ass. I mean, come on. That's what I think about when I hear some of these titles, dog. It's just like hearing exposed. So-and-so's exposed. That word is abused. Don't believe the hype. Because if that's the case, all of us have some type of exposure if we doing or we out here putting our time into the talking about boxing or speaking and making all these thumbnails and boxing lives. You know what I'm saying? That's exposure. Every time you get on here is exposure. But food for thought, advisory, don't believe that shit no more. Because we heard Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, and then all of a sudden the shit stalls. It's off the damn docket. Disappointment. Seriously, it's so much disappointment, man. We thought we was gonna be able to see Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter. Isn't that what the fight we want to see? Because people keep on inserting that Terrence Crawford hasn't fought any top level names at welterweight division to be able to step in there with Errol Spence, who is the unified champion. But then when I think of it, the inclination is very, very clear that Terrence Crawford sits in front of Errol Spence on the pound for pound list. How much clarity has to be given? You shouldn't have to be provided a freaking homework assignment to understand that you're saying that Errol Spence is the best welterweight, but yet on the top pound for pound list and two black fighters that contend at the highest level, Terrence Crawford still sits in front of him. Not only that, the only person that's really made a shift backwards on the pound for pound list was Errol Spence. Once Josh Taylor became the junior welterweight undisputed champion. Facts are facts. The one to do it before Josh Taylor was Terrence Crawford. At 140, of course. So people wanted to see a common opponent that Terrence Crawford stepped in the ring with. They wanted to see it, so they saw Kell Brook. He smashed Kell Brook in 4. Now we want to see another one. We want to see somebody else with a name. All right? If it's not another champion, if it's not going to be another former champion, I'm talking about this sitting up there. Who's left? Because the one name that's out there outside of Danny Garcia, because he just took a beating from Errol Spence, is Sean Porter, right? Forget Keith Thurman. We don't know what the fuck Keith got going on. But Sean Porter is that guy. He brings the heat, and he's definitely going to make the fight very, very interesting for Terrence Crawford. He went the distance with Errol Spence. Even though he experienced a 1-round knockdown in the 11th, he still is known to bring the heat. He's been in there with some top names in the welterweight division. His losses come to Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. But people still respect Shawn Porter enough outside of his goddamn buffoonery when it comes to his damn style. I think his stylish a designer or whoever it is, they might not be able to see, y'all. They might be going off touch and feeling. But anyway, people wanted Terrence Crawford to really step in there with somebody like Shawn Porter, who's been in there with Errol Spence, and another common opponent, Kell Brook, early in a couple of years ago, whatever. So how many times we got to exhale and shit? You for real? Terrence gonna fight Shawn Porter? And then, you wait long enough, right? If you're still able to hold your breath, then you get the letdown. Oh, the fight is off. Fights have stalled against Terrence Crawford and Shawn Porter. Oh, shit. God damn it. Fuck. And then, look, we've heard so much about who's Terrence Crawford going to stay with? Is he going to stay with Top Rank or is he going to sign PBC? And da-da-da. But then some good news come about that he may potentially face Shawn Porter. People get hyped up and everything. No, that's not happening. So I'm pretty much I've been finished with this shit for a while. This welterweight fight. Bud's still my guy. I would tell anybody, I believe Terrence Crawford wholeheartedly goes in there and defeats Errol Spence. I grade his versatility and overall technical discipline when it comes to the sweet science higher than I do Errol Spence. Now, what I have witnessed with Errol Spence, advocates of fans, is that they believe truly that Errol Spence is the truth. I mean, they would give you the whole spiel. The first thing to come out their mouth. Who has Terrence Crawford fought? Who has he fought? You know what I'm saying? Look at Errol Spence and what he's done. He's the unified champion, blah, blah, blah. So is Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman at one point in time was a unified champion. Who defeated Keith Thurman? An older guy. An older guy in the sport defeated Keith Thurman. Not a young lion, an older guy. So when it comes to Errol Spence being really truly, if you put it on the raw scale, he's only 9-0 as a welterweight. You cannot fluctuate weight classes, and I hope people are listening to this. You cannot fluctuate weight classes, and then the one fight that you decide to become dedicated to the weight class you contending in, you compete consistently. If you had 2 fights at junior at super welterweight, then that next fight was at welterweight, that is the first fight that you take to the current as the division that you contending in. Anybody who look at Errol Spence's record can see clearly that he started the sport as a super welterweight. You can see clearly that he was tap dancing and playing hopscotch in between divisions for a good while until he decided to compete at welterweight as his designated weight class. So really, he's 9-0 as a welterweight. So if you really want to take a peek at who he's fought at welterweight, and then when the conversation comes up between Crawford, come on, man. Come on, man. Both of these fighters quit today. Terrence Crawford is a Hall of Famer. I don't know what Errol Spence is. His career is not Hall of Fame worthy. I don't have anything against Errol Spence. I'm just saying my guy's Bud Crawford. But when it comes down to what he's been able to do at the welterweight division, Bud Crawford has stopped all his opponents. Call them what you may. That's just fact. King Mitch in the building. Salute. What's good, Mitch? I agree that Crawford hasn't fought a top welterweight. However, I don't agree that it's necessary for him to do so in order to earn a so-called deserved dispense fight. Totally agree with that, man. Totally agree with that. That's what I've been saying. The man is a 3-division world champion. So therefore, if you're looking for Vasyl Lomachenko, look at the royalty status he's been given. Look at the royalty status that he's been given. No one put all those discretions when it comes to Vasyl Lomachenko. This man was given the blessing in his second professional fight to fight for a title, and he failed. So in his third professional fight, he fights for the vacant title against Mr. Gary Russell Jr. When it comes to Terrence Crawford, he's already amassed 5 professional fights at the welterweight division. So why is there even a conversation that deters that against him being worthy enough to step in there with Errol Spence? Not even close. The man deserves a shot. His first fight against Jeff Horn, no matter how you want to characterize Jeff Horn's popularity or him being one of the top tier names in the sport, he was a champion at the time, and he had a 8th division champion on his resume in the win column. It doesn't matter what you say. Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn, who you criticized Crawford for defeating once he visited the division for the first time. He stopped him. No one has went the distance with Crawford in the welterweight division. But yet he can't get a fight with Errol Spence. Errol Spence goes the distance with Mikey Garcia, who takes his first fight at welterweight. And people saying, oh, that's Mikey Garcia. I look at it like this, right? T.O. say Bud greatest win against Postal. Check this out, T.O. At this point, as long as you've been following boxing, and I'm unsure of the amount of time, right? The tenure. But let me tell you this. Is it really something that is relevant? Is it a topic of discussion that is relevant to speak about Bud's best? You know what I'm saying? His greatest win? Because people are saying that it's no such name on his resume that can consider him a great boxer. You know what I'm saying? So you saying his greatest win against Victor Postal, at the end of the day there, T.O., Terrence Crawford is a Hall of Famer. He's a 3-division formerly undisputed champion. He is a Hall of Famer there, T.O. For real. At the beginning and the end of the day, he's a Hall of Famer, bro. No one can change that shit. And I know people, including Errol Spence, was absolutely upset when he said, I don't need Errol Spence to solidify my legacy, or whatever his words was. He's right. He don't need Errol Spence to cement his legacy. Errol Spence is a single division unified champion. There's more to be had. Seriously. If you take another fighter such as, let's say, Gennady Golovkin, when it comes to Errol Spence and Gennady Golovkin, if you put both of these fighters on the scale of perception with the boxing audience, who's going to weigh the most? Who's going to get the most attention and praise from the boxing fans? Is it going to be Errol Spence in the single division, or is it going to be Gennady Golovkin? Let's just say his stablemate, Jermell Charlo. You put them on the scale. Who's going to get the most notoriety between the two? It's going to have to come a time real soon in the next 2 years that these individuals make a change. Even at 9-0 at the welterweight, I still think Spence has fought the better opposition at 147. Not saying that to down Crawford. It's just factual when you analyze who they stepped in the ring with. So the one point we can underscore with that is you said, I still think Spence has fought the better opposition at 147. Okay, we don't disagree on that. All right. We don't disagree with the names that he has fought at 147, excluding Mikey Garcia. Okay. So we want to talk about who Errol Spence has fought at 147. And I pretty much has went over this several times before. And several other people who are diehard Spence fans, have went over this also. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. No, I get it. Spence 27-0, 21 knockouts. So, we talk about the best competition he's faced, right? So excluding Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia never had a fight at 147. Never had a fight at 147 until he faced Spence. So, of course, we have to include, check this out, people. We have to include Kell Brook because he went over in Kell's Brook backyard and took the title. Right? Right? So would we say that was one of the best, that would be one of the top names to begin with at welterweight at Errol Spence's career? Kell Brook? Right? We definitely will exclude Carlos Ocampo. We will exclude Mikey Garcia. So number two, at the time, being that he had stepped in there with two previous former champions, Kell Brook and Keith Thurman, is Shawn Porter. So do we have a Shawn Porter or Kell Brook on Terrence Crawford resume? one or two of those individuals that I just named, do we have a Kell Brook or Sean Porter on Terrence Crawford resume? Yes, we do. You know who? We already know Kell Brook. He just stopped him in 4 rounds. Okay, let's further analyze this. Are they going to provide the fair act when it comes to giving credit to Terrence Crawford for stopping Kell Brook in better fashion than Terrence Crawford? Because people are going to sit up here and say, well, he fought Kell Brook in 2017. Okay. Kell Brook was washed up. He had got demolished by Gennady Golovkin, and he had got demolished by Errol Spence. He fought 3 fights at super welterweight, and came back down to welterweight after so many years. So that's the criticism they give. But out of the top 2 names, right? Out of the top 2 names, Sean Porter, Kell Brook. Does Terrence Crawford has a name on his resume? He does. He has Kell Brook. He has Kell Brook. So when I continue to hear that Errol Spence has a better resume, people will include 4-division champion Mikey Garcia. And then if they really being petty, they'll throw Lamont Peterson and Chris Algieri in there. They include Leonard Bundu. But like I said before, who was the first fighter that Errol Spence can lay claim to his resume? Was Chris Van Heerden. Alejandro Barrera, if I'm correct. Alejandro Barrera is considered the first fighter that Errol Spence fought on his career as a welterweight. Alejandro Barrera was 26-2. He stopped him, but he was 26-2. Errol Spence has an impressive knockout streak, on his 9-0 freaking welterweight reign. You know what I'm saying? He had knockouts. He had stoppages. From Alejandro Barrera up to Carlos Ocampo, all stoppages. And then he met Mikey Garcia, UD 12. And Sean Porter, split decision, tough fight. And Danny Garcia, decision. Oh, I get it. Okay. When the Errol Spence fans get on, right, they're gonna say, well, check this out. Okay, after the Sean Porter fight, probably he went to this one with Danny Garcia, rather, because of the accident. But we want to keep it on topic. We're talking about his comparison to Terrence Crawford when it comes to resume. Does he have 2 of the top names on his resume? He being Terrence Crawford. Yes, he has Kell Brook. No matter how many years it took for him to fight him, he has him, and he did it in better fashion. He stopped him in the 4th round. Who's next? Danny Garcia? Does Terrence Crawford has Danny Garcia? No. Is Danny Garcia a special welterweight in a sense where he's considered one of the greatest to ever do it at welterweight? His name holds value in stock, but come on, man. Let's be serious, man. Danny Garcia, who's a true welterweight, outside of Mikey Garcia, took worse of a beating than Mikey Garcia. The only similarities in their boxing game is that they have the same last name. That's real talk. Anyway, let me read some more comments, man. Spence's resume gets overrated in my most humble opinion. Don't be humble about it, Charles. You don't have to be humble about a factual statement. Now, of course, some might say that's your opinion, but that is a fact. Spence's resume gets overexposed, man, exacerbated just to boost his notoriety at the current division. They exacerbate it, man. But after all the talk, look, after all the Spence fans who have chosen, because, you know, Terrence Crawford don't talk too much to people, and they relate more to the freaking Errol Spence. So when it comes down to it, when the comparison is dichotomized here on YouTube, they always say, who has the better resume? And really, when you look at it, it's pointless to even think about speaking about a resume. It's pointless. Because after Carlos Ocampo, Errol Spence had 2 fights before his accident. He had Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. Both of those fights went the distance. Now you're saying to yourself, those are Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. Mikey Garcia was undefeated going in there. He had 39 victories. Okay. But also he was stepping up for 135 coming off Easter. And we all know he fought Sergey Lipinets at 40, but he went back to 35 and then moved up to 47. That was his first fight at 47. Boom. We have to exclude Mikey Garcia, a lightweight. We have to exclude him. We can't give him props because he had a defensive shell and he was able to get to the final bell with Errol Spence. We have to put culpability on Errol Spence because he's the boogeyman. He's supposed to be man down. He's supposed to be the truth. That's what they say, right? But somebody like myself, you know, if I bring up Terrence Crawford, the first conversation is, who has he fought? And I'm telling you, he's fought everybody at the welterweight division that's on his resume and stopped them. It doesn't matter if Kell Brook dropped back down in weight. It doesn't matter, y'all. It's not like he's never fought at welterweight before. He was a champion. So you can't be somehow, oh, he was at super welterweight before that and came back down and he was damaged. Okay, if you're gonna say that he was damaged, you gotta also convolute the praise that you're giving Errol Spence for going in Kell Brook's backyard and taking the title after Gennady whooped his ass. You have to dilute it just the same. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to give the same criticism. If you're going to throw dirt all over, you know, Kell Brook's decimation from Crawford, then we have to also cross the street and go over here and throw dirt on Errol Spence fighting a previously damaged Kell Brook. And then the fans, once again, the fans will come back. You know what? WCS, how long was that, you know, after he fought Gennady Golovkin? It doesn't matter how long it was because you're not in his cranial cap. You don't know the extensive damages that was inflicted on his right eye, on his orbital bone. We don't know the healing process. We don't know the residual. Just like we don't know the residual damage of Errol Spence from his accident. We don't know it. But the only thing the Errol Spence, some of them, not all of them, they would put up there is that, man, Kell Brook was fine. He went over there in Kell Brook's backyard. He was just fine, and he damaged the left eye. He made him quit. What I'm telling you is the man that went up to 154 and took a beating. Let's not say we hardcore boxing fans 1 minute and say that, oh, so-and-so's never the same. I heard that when I was down here in Atlanta and I was interviewing one of the renowned trainers in Joel Diaz, right? So he says, oh, after take a beating like that, a fighter's never the same in Wilder. Wilder took a beating for Fury. He's never going to be the same. So is Kell Brook the same after taking a beating for Gennady Golovkin? So if we're going to continue to use this language on fighters being different off taking a beating off one fight, why is that not reciprocated when it comes to Errol Spence fight against Kell Brook? Because he took a beating not only as a boxer, but at a higher weight class than the one he held a belt at. Shouldn't we dilute that shit when it comes to Spence? Because if we're gonna dilute the fact that Terrence Crawford stopped Kell Brook, and he had already took 2 beatings, well, we also got to extend that palm up to Errol Spence, that he got the leftovers from the work that Gennady Golovkin has inflicted on Kell Brook before. I can't say for sure that Crawford stops Porter, Danny, or Mikey Garcia. Most of the time when I'm speaking about a specific fight, unless it's Deontay Wilder, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's Deontay Wilder, who's the heaviest hitter in the game, I really don't predict knockouts like that. It's just tough to do. Like if you look at my previous lives way back, I've said this about certain fighters. Like I just don't know if we talking about that knockout. Oh, so and so's gonna get knocked out in this round. I just can't do it. And Mitch, speaking about your comment, I just can't say Sean Porter, who has one of the best chins in boxing. I mean, look, people will still elevate Sean Porter's status knowing that he was dropped by Adrian Broner and Errol Spence. They will elevate that he still had. I will sit up here and admit that Sean Porter has a respectable chin in boxing. Adrian Broner's knockdown, in my opinion, was better than Errol Spence, because really, Errol Spence knockdown, Sean Porter was just able to revive himself very quickly, and his glove barely touched the ground. But if you look at Adrian Broner knockdown, come on, man. Come on, man. You're intelligent. Can y'all hear me? Charles say I was on mute. Can y'all hear me? Put a Y in the chat. Put a letter Y in the chat if you can hear me, because somebody said I was on mute. I'm looking at it. I'm not on mute. Okay, cool. Appreciate it there, Andrew. Triple G had that HBO machine behind him. I don't want to hear what he had behind him, bro. HBO wasn't in the ring fighting for him. The beating that he put on Kell Brook was his left and right. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say about that. We're not talking about networks, none of that. I still chuckle when I think about all the people who were bragging about putting money on Brooks over Crawford. Then after they lost their money, they ran away screaming Brooks was leftovers. Brooks was a leftover from Gennady, because once again, we can't yell and scream that Deontay Wilder will never be the same fighter after Fury. You know what I'm saying? We can't sit up here and say shit like that. You can't sit up here and put certain fighters into the equation that they'll never be the same after going into a tough fight with a fighter. But yet you elevate the win of Errol Spence fighting Brook, who came off a beating from Gennady, and then you further diminish that when he steps in there with Terrence Crawford and gets stopped in the 4th round. No. Damn good point, though. Mike is too small at welterweight, but a solid boxer and only 1 defeat. Danny and Porter has never even came close to being stopped. True, Danny, I agree with both Danny and Porter having pretty solid chins, but I really don't know where the conversation takes a detour to talk about knockdowns or knockouts. You know what I'm saying? It might be from my previous comment, but yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying, Porter could have potentially won that fight against Spence if that 11th round wouldn't have played out the way it did. Real talk. Seriously. And what you said about Mikey, I totally agree. Man, none of these dudes are the greatest to ever do it at welterweight, though. Maybe Pac, that's about it. See, Pac's entire spreadsheet is what he's encompassed or encapsulated in his boxing career. That's what he gets a lot of praise at. He doesn't have a Floyd Mayweather win on his resume. Manny Pacquiao was defeated by Floyd Mayweather, but people still generate the interest to say, well, why don't Floyd fight Manny Pacquiao again? Why don't Floyd fight Manny Pacquiao again? No matter how many times Floyd Mayweather proved himself with some of the bigger names, they're not going to give him credit. If he fights Manny Pacquiao right now and beats him, they're going to say Manny Pacquiao was too old, even though Floyd Mayweather is retired. And he's what? How old is Floyd Mayweather again? See, that's the discrepancy that comes into favoritism and biasness when people talk about boxing. Because they'll say Manny Pacquiao, an 8th division champion, has more tread on the tires than Floyd, and he's much older now. How old is Floyd Mayweather? That's all I want to know. He too small. What? Was he too small when he fought Keith Thurman? Is he going to be too small when he fight Errol Spence? Did they say that Juan Manuel Marquez was too small for Manny Pacquiao, or they was the right height? T.O. say, who's greater, Triple G or Bud? Good question there, T.O. I have to go with belts, in my opinion, and divisions. I will definitely have to go with Bud Crawford. I'll have to go with Bud Crawford. I have to just take in consideration what he's been able to accomplish in his career in the 4-belt era. I have to take in consideration the amount of divisions he's been champion. Him having the fortitude to change divisions the way he has. For Triple G to have so many options and still just remain in the middleweight division just to say, oh, I want to be compared. Look, I want to be compared to Bernard Hopkins. No one's going to respect your accomplishments just because you have amassed a certain number to be in the same situation. And once again, I have to compare this to the man Deontay Wilder. No one wants to consider the fact of him and his title defenses being in the company of Muhammad Ali. They don't want to do it. But we're talking about a fighter 41-1, 36 knockouts, and Gennady Golovkin, who I've always considered to be overrated. Seriously, that's just me. That's just me. So we look at big names. Where do we start with Gennady Golovkin? What do we start? Do we start at Dominique Wade because he has an O on his record? Let me go further down in the cemetery. You know, Gabriel Rosado with 5 losses. I mean, where do I start to answer T.O.'s question about justifying why I say Crawford, in my opinion? Because let's look at it like this. Kell Brook, right? You know, when it comes down to it, was Kell Brook a champion at super welterweight when he was moving up? I mean, what was the challenge there for Kell Brook moving up fighting Gennady Golovkin after he was told not to? What was the results from Daniel Jacobs going the distance? You know, Daniel Jacobs even was dropped in that fight, but still answered the final bell. And then it gets interesting per To's question. Then it comes into the equation with the rivalry that start to build up between him and Saul Canelo Alvarez. After the Daniel Jacobs fight, it was a split decision draw. So really, neither fighter is going to get credit for that. It depends on who you speak to. Oh, they'll say Gennady won. They'll say Canelo won. Okay, moving on. Monterosian, moving on. Canelo again. Canelo goes in there and gets the job done against Gennady. Now let's emphasize this there, T.O., because you asked a damn good question. All right. Steve Rose is after Canelo rematch. Steve Rose is 19-0. Sergey Derevyanchenko. And then Camille Sarameda. So you asked me after reading off those names, comparable. Is it truly a gap when it comes to career accomplishments, when it comes to the name Terrence Crawford and Gennady Golovkin, who is greater in my opinion? Like when people use greater, that's basically something a stamp you putting on both fighters. I would have said who has the more solidifying resume when it comes to boxing. You know what I'm saying? When you say great, then bilaterally, I have to compare both fighters as being great. I think the only time that Gennady Golovkin is great is if Jim Lampley is commentating his fights. Oh, Gennady, he throws 4-punch combination. None of them landed, but if it's Jim Lampley, it's like, oh, he connects with a 4-punch combination and nearly pummels and drops his opponent. I mean, come on now. We all know Jim Lampley. He hyped the shit out of damn Gennady. Anyway, damn good question there, T.O. Crawford is greater than Triple G. Triple G has campaigned at only one division and suffered a draw and loss in the biggest fight. True. It was a blossoming trilogy, right? It was blossoming to a trilogy. But once again, we're talking about boxing. We're talking about politics. We don't know why a third fight hasn't been established. I can pretty much tell you because one of the names out of the two, Canelo, has chosen to visit or relocate to higher divisions to earn championships. Gennady Golovkin, no matter how long he was with Abel Sanchez, he chose to release him, and he ain't did shit from it. He ain't did shit, but signed a contract for more money. So him making a decision to get rid of a trainer that got him to the mountaintop, what has Gennady Golovkin did? Anyway, damn good question. Appreciate the response with the audio. Appreciate you. J8 in the building. What's good there, J8? Appreciate you pulling up, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. I know you seen Fox tried to cheat before the fight, got caught, and fixed the cards for him to come over. Yeah, we was talking about that earlier, man. You're right, man. You know what I'm saying? That's boxing. But the commission checked gloves before each fight, right? Yeah, man. We already know what's up with those glove situations. You know, I can briefly tell you about situations I've been a part of, and I'm not going to mention any particular promoter or venues, right? But I've been in situations where fighters was rolling gloves up over and over again, fighters punching walls and everything before they go out to the fight, and the commission was standing right there. You know, he was walking through that shit, seeing fighters do what the fuck they wanted to do. I've seen situations where commissions didn't even come and check the gloves, you know, check the hands of the fighters when they was being wrapped. That's real. I mean, so you're going to have individuals just zoom in just a little bit more with the microscope on certain names when they're trying to prove a point. You know, just like Wilder Fury. People want to act like the commission is so perfect, right? In that particular conversation. But then, just like Jay and so many others has mentioned, they'll sit up here and know that the commission is not correcting the judges when they allow certain things to be ignored that totally goes against the rules and the fairness of boxing, and nothing happened. But yet they'll hold the commission accountable in good standing when it comes to them being in the locker room watching Wilder hands and Fury hands rap. Man, come on now. Corruption doesn't bump in the walls. Corruption is the wall. It doesn't bump into any walls. It is the walls. Corruption is the barriers. Triple G ain't beat nobody. You know, T.O. asked a good question, so I just had to say, hey, you know, he said, who's greater, Terrence Crawford or Triple G? And in my opinion, if you're going to say great, you have to say, okay, Terrence Crawford has did more. Period. He's did more. Pac-Man has more tread on his tires, but also an abused engine and damaged body frame from massive collisions in his career. Floor maintenance, gets rotations, alignments, oil change, and all. Man, it gets more than that, bro. That mug get concierge service. Floyd Mayweather gets the top of the line service. God damn it. You know, him with his hands, you know, he get his hands damn treated. You know, he gets the top of the line service for real. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I believe Manny Pacquiao, he gets somewhat top of the line service, but you're talking about two different lifestyles now. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather lifestyles are different. I'm not saying Manny Pacquiao doing his 2 years, you know, off from the Keith Thurman fight, he was just sitting around the house. But what we do know is that goddamn Floyd Mayweather would go on a run at 2:30, 3, 4, whatever he wants. He'll go on a run in the AM while other people are sleeping. He continued to stay in shape. I mean, you got to give him his props. Real talk. You got to give Floyd Mayweather his props, man. T.O. says something else that's on point. He say Triple G gets a pass too. He does. Who's talking about Triple G? Hardly anybody is talking about Triple G. His decision to stay in the middleweight division isn't anything astounding. He's just staying in the division where he's comfortable. If he truly wanted a trilogy with Canelo Alvarez, I mean, why does Canelo have to come back down to 160? He already swiped you once. He's been in there with you too, but he swiped you once. Why don't you try to challenge yourself and shock everybody and move up to super middleweight? Why don't you do that? If that's what Canelo, this is simple shit. If that's what Canelo Alvarez is trying to campaign as undisputed, why don't you just go up there and fight somebody at super middleweight? Fight a David Benavidez that's, in my opinion, he is a former champion. He never was defeated for his belt. Fight him. And then maybe you'll draw the interest of Canelo again. But Canelo ain't been paying your ass no mind to drop back down to 60 for you. Why haven't you fought Jamal Charlo, goddammit? Demetrius Andrade. Why are they unworthy of your presence? Man, I spent too much time on this dude. Steve Rose ain't shit, and Darren Chico damn near won that fight versus Triple G. True words, man. And Darren Chico gave a great account, Mitch, of himself against Charlo. He was leaking there, Mitch. He was leaking, but he gave a good account of himself, right? He was leaking. We can't say that the Darren Chico fight and the Castano fight are the same. No. We can't do that. It was a time all these fighters was getting fame just from kicking Brooks' ass. Yes, sir. Brooks was the shit, wasn't he? He had Wall Street in this bitch. Like Kell Brook. He had the notoriety and the respect like Danny Garcia gets. Sean Porter at welterweight. You know what I'm saying? Those two individuals can lose and don't even fluctuate from their position in the ranking, y'all. I know people don't want to hear it, but you can take it for however you want. You know what I'm saying? Hoover in the building. What's good there, Hoover? Yeah, we're gonna get on there. You know, I'll talk on it. I don't think Derek Lewis is done for good. It's just one of those deals where, come on, when you get a heavy-handed fighter like Derek Lewis, who's came a long way, right, in his stand-up game, he's still a flat-footed power puncher. So for Cyril Gane, Francis 6'4", interim heavyweight champion at the time. He did something. He's not the typical heavyweight that's super flat-footed. He was able to land those solid kicks to the lead leg of Derek Lewis at distance without making it a close quarters fight. He really didn't get stupid until Derek Lewis started to, really feel those kicks. It's just like Jose Aldo and Uriah Faber. Man, those kicks Cyril Gane was goddamn firing off against Derek Lewis. Oh, my God. Lewis was feeling them motherfuckers. He was like, oh, shit. That shit hurt. And that's the special, that's the level difference. And when it comes to heavyweight, you have power hitters like Derek Lewis, who has one punch knockout power. And then you have a striker that stepped up to the plate in Cyril Gane, who came in there and say, you know what? The way to slow down a power puncher who generates power from his legs is to kick that motherfucking leg, that lead leg. That's what happened, man. And the fact that he wasn't checking the kicks there, Hoover, he wasn't checking the kicks, my brother, that was leading to his demise, bro. Jim Lampley and HBO is what I alluded to earlier with Triple G. Without the hype, his resume is comparable to both. Without the hype, his resume is comparable to both Spence and Jamel. Name those two, because that's who Combat asked about early in comparison. Yeah, for sure. Solid summation. Solid analogy, man. Solid analogy. If I had one wish, I would summon Prime Roy Jones and James Toney. So you would summon them to do what? What were you summoning them to do? What were you summoning them to do, and who? With who? Because if you're going to summon the greats now, you have to have someone that's worthy of being in the presence of these fighters to bring their attention. Who will you summon them to be in the ring with? At what weight class? Who would you want to see them in there with? Weak era of middleweights. Yeah. But the energy left the building there, T.O., when Canelo left. Now, look, I have to include it. When Canelo ass was elevated franchise champion now, that was the pinhole to any type of, I don't know, that was the pinhole to the balloon in the middleweight division. If it was any which way it was starting to elevate and float in boxing so people can take a look at it. That was when it was beginning right there. When he became franchise champion, who they say you have to petition for the belt, but there was no other franchise champion before then, and he was the first. He never fought Jamal Charlo. The only fighter that he fought twice, and in between time pop positive, was Gennady Golovkin. Why couldn't any other fighter get that love? Do we really truly know if he ducked Jamal Charlo or not? Seriously, do we truly know if he ducked Jamal Charlo or not? Is it something out there that says Jamal Charlo truly wanted to fight Canelo? Like, did he really want Canelo Alvarez at the time at 160? I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. Lewis not done, but he might not beat those elite heavyweights. But check this out. Let me give you this scenario because this is what I do, Jay. Check this out, though. Since Hoover, asked the question initially. Check this out, Jay. Do you know Derek Lewis defeated Francis Ngannou? So the weird dynamic, and why I'm telling you that Derek Lewis defeated Francis Ngannou's route to the championship still superseded that of Derek Lewis because he's the heavyweight champion right now. He's the heavyweight champion, even though Derek Lewis defeated Francis Ngannou doing both of their rises to the top for the championship. Francis Ngannou is the champion. So in order to place himself in a position to step back in there with Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis had to defeat Ciryl Gane. It didn't happen. Now, who gets the shot? Potentially, Ciryl Gane, the interim champion, would get the shot against Francis Ngannou. That's crazy, right? That's what I like about mixed martial arts, man. Sometimes it happens like that. Seriously. Sometimes it happens like that. Floyd had Kobe's work ethic. Absolutely. We all know Floyd, man, his work ethic was on a whole nother dimension. Seriously. We all know that. You got to, all the criticism you want to give Floyd Mayweather from how he maneuvered or how he moved or whatever, you got to respect the fact that his career is legit and it's official, and his work ethic over everything is the reason why he didn't go down in the Sugar Shane Mosley fight. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Sugar Shane Mosley landed some hard shots on Floyd Mayweather. When have we seen him buckle, man? Come on now. We got to give him his props, man. His condition prevented him from being stretched out, man. Could have fought Andre and got his ass kicked. Would have got a little respect. Yeah, he would have. Real talk. He would have. Yes, sir. He would have. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Who would say it was like a baseball bat? Man, you ain't never lied. Listen, what's wild about MMA is that the kicks over time has changed. Like Yoda Machida came in here with his karate style. Even though he's Brazilian, most of the Brazilians that you see in mixed martial arts, they have a Brazilian foundation. A Brazilian foundation. They have a BJJ foundation, right? They're highly schooled on jiu-jitsu at a young age, man. That's just one of their bedrocks. You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about Loyola Machida, he was just those high kicks, that karate style, and he was able to become champion by defeating Sugar Rashad Evans. But over time, the kicks have the style of kicks have basically lowered themselves to an entry that's less, that's going to provide you the least exposure, okay, for a counter. And those are mid to low level kicks. The only thing about the low level kicks is you have to know where to place the kick, and also you set yourself up to be in a position like Anderson Silva or Chris Weidman, because some fighters know how to check kicks. Derek Lewis, being he generates power for his legs and his punches, Ciryl Gane knew that he wouldn't be checking the kicks. That's why he kicked the shit out of his legs. Oh my God. That shit sounded like a batting cage. He was destroying Derek Lewis' legs. And good game plan too. People think it's, they say, oh, it sucks that he was throwing those low level calf kicks, those low calf kicks. That's one of the primary go-tos right now. thigh to calf kicks. Seriously. And you see a lot of these cats using flying knees a lot now. Of course, flying knees demands that you get in stupid. I mean, like your Rolex, your timing on your entry has to be perfect on flying knees. But that's another thing that fighters are going to now. Look at Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar. Corey Sandhagen, oh my God, that's one of the most brutal flying knees you'll see. Oh my God. Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman, one of the most brutal flying knees you'll see. Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren, one of the top flying knees. You see more fighters doing it now. I'm not saying they got it from Jorge Masvidal because that's not true, but I'm just saying more fighters are using flying knees. More fighters are using low calf kicks and mid-level kicks. Gane is real. Might be able to beat Francis if he can survive those early rounds. True words, Jay. True words, bro. One thing we know for sure in the early rounds, we know Francis Ngannou has power, bro. Stipe putting on all that weight to get knocked out again. Man, come on, man. Get off Stipe, man. That's the best heavyweight in the game. Come on, Jake. Come on. You cannot sit up here and accredit him the fact that he went into a trilogy with DC. With DC, he's been in there with Francis Ngannou. He slipped all those power shots early on. Come on, man. You got to give Stipe his props, man. Just because he came back in there and Ngannou stopped him. Come on, man. He was stopped by DC. You know what I'm saying? So James Toney was a beast. Francis, different fighter now, training his wrestling, better striker now. Think he beats Lewis this time. Yeah, after what happened, it is according to his fight plan. He's another fighter who implemented leg kicks. So when it comes to Ngannou and Gane, both of them have leg kick ability. I think Gane, after seeing him yesterday with Lewis, his leg kicks are better than Ngannou. Real talk. His leg kicks, oh my God. Them motherfuckers are bamboo wrapped in duct tape with a goddamn aluminum rod in the middle of that bitch. Seriously. Goddamn it, salute to the one and only Sir Ken back in the building, man. I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. World Combat Sports salute. Salute to the wrenches and salute to the chat. Smash the like button. Man, hopefully all been well there, Ken. Man, while you was, doing your absence, man, I caught COVID, bro. Man, it took me a while to goddamn recover. It's been a lot, dog. It's been a lot, bro. But it's good to see you back in the live chat, man. Man, y'all show some love to Sir Ken in the building, man. Agree, almost forget he did beat Francis. Yeah. Yep. Stipe defeated Francis, and then Francis got his revenge. But Francis had to work himself back up through, the ranks. But once again, peep this though. He didn't fight Derek Lewis again. You know what I'm saying? Like, them two was the top names that was en route and shit. And they had one of the most boringest heavyweight fight in UFC history. Francis Ngannou was afraid of getting knocked the fuck out. And Derek Lewis was doing what he do. He was fighting the way he fight. It wasn't nothing special. He was just waiting because he pretty much understood Ngannou had power too. So just like wrestlers negate themselves sometimes, in that particular heavyweight fight, those two negated with who's going to take the risk first. You know what I'm saying? Combat, maybe you can enlighten me, but in my opinion, Lewis shouldn't have been in there with that guy. He should have been granted a shot at Francis' heavyweight title. Yeah, I agree. But once again, we have to look at it this way. I don't know the decision process Sean Shelby is on his shit for real. But check this out. I think it was Mitch, right? Mitch make a good point. But check this out, Mitch. Check this out. Back in 2018, Derek Lewis won over Francis Ngannou, and like I said, that he never fought Francis Ngannou again, right? So that was the big deal with him working his way up to a title shot. This is Derek Lewis's big opportunity. So when he stepped in there with Alexander Volkov, which was another hype, he got the job done. Now check this out though. When Derek Lewis got the shot at Daniel Cormier, you're talking about Francis Ngannou for the title, but Derek Lewis got his shot at DC off of coming off that win with Francis Ngannou. He beat Francis Ngannou to put him closer to the title shot. So in between time, they say, you know what? Let's throw him in there with Alexander Volkov. Tall, lanky striker. Derek Lewis ended up goddamn knocking him out. He knocked him out in the third round, man. So he goes in there, he loses a championship fight, the DC. That was his championship berth. Cyril Gane hasn't had that championship berth yet. So that's where the separation comes in to individuals who's asking a little bit about who should have got the title shot with Francis Ngannou. Derek Lewis got the shot at DC, and Ngannou got the shot at Stipe Miocic. After Ngannou's loss to Derek Lewis, he was pretty much on a win streak just like Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis got the first shot. Not only that, but he went in there with JDS after losing to DC, and he lost again. It took him several fights, dispersing Curtis Blades to even get back into title contention for a second time. And that's what he had last night, and he lost. So people are going to look at this in the MMA community there, Mitch, as they still respect Derek Lewis. You know what I'm saying? They still respect Derek Lewis. Look, Derek Lewis has 8 defeats on his resume, but it's cats in there that's in the triple digits when it comes to losses. People not tripping because, look, Derek Lewis is an exciting fighter most of the time. He has that one hitter quitter, Texas boy, and they respect him. The fact that he went in there with DC and lost, he had his title shot. Now, you got to look at Francis Ngannou knocking out Stipe Miocic in the rematch. Francis Ngannou did better than Derek Lewis. Why? Because Derek Lewis had that back-to-back losing streak. But what's crazy is Francis Ngannou was able to step in there twice with Stipe Miocic, but him and Derek Lewis never fought a second time. You know what I'm saying? One has 8 losses and the other one has 3. Now check out this highlight though. So when Francis Ngannou stepped in there with Stipe Miocic, the first time, this just crossed my mind, right? When Francis Ngannou stepped in there with Stipe Miocic the first time, he lost on the UD. So just like Derek Lewis, immediately after these guys went in there for a championship fight, Derek Lewis going in there against DC, Francis Ngannou going in there against Stipe. They very next fight, they both lost. You know what I'm saying? Derek Lewis lost to JDS, and Francis Ngannou lost to freaking Derek Lewis. But the one thing about it, Francis Ngannou went on a damn win streak fighting some of the top names that was in the division. Now, you got to exclude Cain Velasquez because he's been out the sport for I don't know how long, but he defeated Curtis Blades. You know what I'm saying? Again. He stopped that damn potential rivalry. And then common opponents, JDS, he defeated him in round one, defeated Cain Velasquez in round one. Your Daniel Rosenstruck defeated him. We all see that. That was like 40 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. And then he went back in there for a rematch with Stipe Miocic and killed him in 2 rounds. So the one who did it better, in my opinion, was Francis Ngannou. It was Francis Ngannou, man. Derek Lewis, if he would have beat Cyril Gane, he would have got his second attempt at the title. But he couldn't get it done. So that just goes to show you who's basically elevating their fight game and making changes and improving, vice Derek Lewis, who's sticking to what he's comfortable with. Sir Ken say, wow, I've been so busy between legal issues, home improvement, and wrenching on that truck. I just had to bike down and get it done. I'm glad to hear that you are better, though. Hey, I appreciate that, Sir Ken, for real. I appreciate you. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. For real, it was crazy. Well, I appreciate you pulling up again, man. Hopefully everything work out for you with your situation. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. But damn good questions. Damn good question there, Mitch, because yeah, both of them took different routes. They both was at a point where they contended for the championship. And Francis Ngannou had the better recovery, in my opinion. And, you know, y'all need to understand, when it comes to Sean Shelby, who's the matchmaker over there, he does a damn good job, man. I ain't gonna lie. That man does a good job. Really good job. Damn good job with matchmaking, man. Kid Gallagher's long journey paid off as he's now claiming the IBF featherweight title. But you know what's crazy about that, though, is that we had a vacant IBF title in the featherweight division, 126, and 130 pound was just still vacant. What's going on with the goddamn IBF at the lower weight classes? Like, people, you know, we know Jojo Diaz lost that shit on the scales. But damn, you know, we had this dude fight for the vacant featherweight title. It wasn't anybody else out there. Like, it's crazy. But shout out to Galahad for going in there. You know, he's had a long road. You know, once he tested positive, he came back with a dirty test, but he was able to get it done last night. You know, stopped his opponent in the 11th round. So we definitely want to pay homage and give a salute to him picking up his chip. You know what I'm saying? The IBF chip. But everybody was talking about what we was talking about earlier. I'm just gonna skim through it. You know, yeah, Fox, in my opinion, I believe he was wrongfully on the bad end of a poor decision when it comes to boxing once again. And Maestre, when he went home, he probably thought to himself, you know, and questioned, did I really win that fight? This, that, and the other. He has some improvement to do, because when you come from an extensive amateur background, it's not professional. So you're gonna go through trials, and we're finding that out from the amateurs, man. You know, shout out to Keyshawn Davis, man. Keyshawn Davis, Duke Raygun, you know, O'Shea Jones. You know, shout out to all them that was over there contending. I think most of them came home with silver medals, if I'm not mistaken. But Keyshawn Davis, I'm forgetting one name. I'm forgetting one other guy's name. What's the guy name? I'm forgetting. He was from the US too. I'm forgetting his name, but it was big talk on trying to see who was going to come up out of there with a gold. And one thing I can say about Keyshawn Davis, I salute him and the Olympic Committee for being able to call this cat back, because he violated a policy or rules over there in the Olympics, whatever rules they had set up for the Olympic team. So I'm glad he was able to get the call back after he had, some professional fights and was able to go back there and contend on that level. Now he's a silver standard champion. He has that medal forever, and he gets to return back to the professional ranks with a little bit, more credentials. We had Shakur Stevenson with a silver medal. So shout out to Keyshawn, shout out to Duke, shout out to O'Shea, shout out to the other guy. I forgot his name, man. Somebody put it in the chat if you remember the name I'm talking about. They say, Jay say they robbed Keyshawn. Would you have to understand this, Jay? I know you. I know. Look, check this out. I know you've been around boxing long enough to know that that's what they do in the AMs. Like I mentioned earlier, Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather both shedded tears from being robbed. Come on, man. Roy was talking about not fighting again. Imagine how deep down in the pit that he felt when he was robbed, man. Come on now. Yeah, Torres. Jabalov versus Torres. Yeah. Appreciate that, Hoover. UFC matchmaker said, F that, we ain't putting that boring fight on again. Yeah, man. For real, you're right. You're right. They say we ain't putting that on because that was one of the most boringest. Like that's, that and Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero, those two fights in a nutshell, and I can throw in Darren Till and freaking Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Those three right there, oh my God, three of the most boringest fights ever. Those judges were talking to Stevie Wonder during the fight last night. For me, there's no way Fox lost that fight. No, he didn't. He didn't lose the fight. He even earned a knockdown in that. It didn't matter, man. But Jay, man, everybody else in the chat, damn well that's what it is. If you in here, hit the like button, man. Show some love, share the content, man. I shouldn't have to tell grown adults. If you really, supporting the channel, man, you know what it is. Support it and do what you have to do to grow the channel. I appreciate you. But man, it's mask on for boxing. You know that. Hold up for a second. Jabalov might be able to do some damage in the heavyweight division. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. We'll see, because they got big hopes for that guy. They got big hopes for that guy. They say they're gonna, raise him up right. They're gonna give him some fights and raise him up right. So we'll see. The Cubans got Olympic boxing in a Cobra clutch. Well, with the Cubans there, Hoover, you know what it is with them. While a lot of them defect to make that money, it's a problem with them turning professional over there and all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Cubans defect to make that money and live the dream. But it's probably it's difficult to defect from a country when you have family over there. We really don't know anything about that. But we do know that certain fighters have defected. You know what I'm saying? We do know the backstory of Rigondeaux. We know the backstory of Luis Ortiz. We know the backstory of Erislandy Lara. All these cats that have, pretty much went through that. The list goes on and on and on. We know about the dictatorship that was over there at one point in time and how Cuba plays. We know about all that, man. But yeah, when it comes to damn Olympic, when it comes to amateur boxing, the Cubans, man, they don't come to play. They all business when it comes down to it. For real. Tough. God damn it. Y'all hold on for a quick minute. Yeah, we back. D Hodges in the building. What's going on with you? OG, how you feeling, bro? So Hoover say Rigo gonna get beat up by Casemiro. And you know what? I have to agree with you on that, man. I'm going for John Casemiro on that. Absolutely. I just think when Rigo had his fight against Sabolis, I believe his name, for the title, he was doing the same thing over and over again. It really wasn't exciting. That's one of the things Casemiro brings up. Rigo was putting people to sleep. So, yeah, I think John Casemiro gets it done, and potentially we'll see a unification bout between him and Monster. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Monster has already defeated Nonito Donaire, who's the WBC champion, right? So when it comes down to it, they have to fight, man. Monster has to further unify the bantamweight division. And then let's not forget we got Joshua Greer Jr., my boy Joshua Greer out of Chicago. You know, he's fighting Jason Maloney, which this fight was supposed to take place when the pandemic hit. But it was called off. They went separate directions. Josh Greer suffered his second loss. He was dropped twice in that fight, and then came back and got a draw. So he's been having his journey. And then Jason Maloney's situation with him and his fight. So both of these fighters have faced adversity. But when it comes down to it, this is going to be a damn good fight in the bantamweight division. This is going to be a damn good fight. Shout out to Don't Blink, Mr. ESPN, man. Real good dude, man. Shout out to Nate the Great, Ed Bad Boy Brown. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all them cats that's over there, man. Rest in peace, the Ed Bad Boy Brown, man. I have casual saying Cuba with boxing and Jamaica with track and field paid somebody. What? Jamaica track and field? Like, hold up. Like, Jamaica, when they perform in track and field, who are they paying? Like, most of Jamaica's success in track and field this time, was on the female side of it. Real talk. Like, we didn't get no Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, you know what I'm saying, Asafa Powell. We didn't really get a large group of Jamaican athletes that was dominating track and field. Michael Fox got robbed. Yes, sir. I agree that D Hodges. I agree. I absolutely agree. But let's talk about one of the biggest topics that I didn't even put on my thumbnail. Let's talk about this. What do you all think about Canelo not fighting next month, but choosing to return somehow, some way to talks in November? Who do you place culpability on? Was it Caleb Plant or Canelo Alvarez? Was it demands of Canelo Alvarez once again that pretty much frustrated Caleb Plant and said, you know what, F it, we're not doing business, we ain't fighting right now? Because I like sweet hands. You know what I'm saying? I like sweet hands, but it's getting to a point now where we know there's a trend with Canelo Alvarez placing demands and stipulations on fights. Who is fault? Please, somebody educate me. Who was at fault? Who do you place culpability? The prima donna, the Canelo Alvarez, who, I'm looking at it like, dude, you have one more belt. Why would all the stipulations be like that? Like, you have one more belt. You that good, go in there and defeat him. What's with all this shit in boxing where fights like this, man, is basically taken off the damn docket just because of demands from fighters? Like, if you're the top pound for pound guy, why do you have to place all these demands on your challengers? You're supposed to be the top pound for pound dude. Now, I can see you negotiating your money, but negotiating that you get paid the same with a replacement opponent? Are you betting the fact that Caleb Plant pulls out and you can get an easy payday? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, D Hodges, to my Plant will fight anybody. And I'm not placing the blame on Plant. I'm placing the blame on Canelo Alvarez, man. I don't like that shit. That's too redundant, man. That's too redundant. Y'all let me know what you think. That's another fight I'm super disappointed. Probably won't happen. Plant was going to represent for Tennessee. Yeah, man, he was going to represent for Nashville, Tennessee, man. Shout out to Nashville, Tennessee. Absolutely, Andrew. He was going to represent for Tennessee, once again. People downplay Caleb Plant, what he's been able to accomplish, but when he won the title, he did fight a champion. It wasn't for the vacant. He did fight a champion. Now, what that champion has become after Caleb Plant has nothing to do with Caleb. Caleb did what he's supposed to do on that night. Period. He did what he's supposed to do. And he did it in superb fashion. So coming to him full circle, I don't sit up here and knock Caleb Plant for standing his ground and not being taken advantage of like some people. Just because they say, oh, I'm stepping in there with Canelo Alvarez. Give me 10 mil and all that, and I'll accept everything you want. Caleb Plant isn't Keith Thurman. I just think Keith Thurman, when it came down to the Pacquiao fight, he basically went in there for a check. Caleb Plant, he said, yeah, I'm going to get what I'm worth, but I'm not just going to sit up here and surrender to every demand that you have just because I'm getting the most money I ever got in my career. Come on, y'all. Canelo acting like Mariah Carey out here. Shit, you ain't lied there. Man, Canelo been a prima donna, man, for real, man. It's irritating, for real. I'm irritated with Canelo right now, man. Seriously, you try to give him, you try to give him the BOD, the benefit of the doubt. You try to. But this dude right now in his career, he's just acting so goddamn like it's all about him being a prima donna, man. That's just like what I heard about Mariah Carey, since Hoover mentioned Mariah Carey. She has to have when she's in an area or something. I think when she was on tour, she had to have the area sanitized. They had to spray it down or something before she would even go in there. And from my understanding that she had to have a brand new toilet. She would not go to a place where she's going to be staying and the toilet has been used by somebody else. I ain't mad at Mariah Carey. Shit. I ain't mad, girl. If you can get them to change you out of toilet and it's brand new for you only, hey, I ain't mad at you. I'm not, man. I'm not mad at her. Canelo could have tried for undisputed against Andrade at 160. Absolutely. Well, we all know what's up with that, man. He gets a pass. All his Mexican fans would come up here and say, oh, look at his resume. And then he has that one blemish against Floyd. He wasn't ready for that fight, but he took it. You know what I'm saying? He took the risk. Yeah, we understand he took the risk. But what didn't he do? He didn't unify with Demetrius. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I don't call a grown man boo-boo. But he could have unified with Andrade. He could have fought Charlo, but he had to be the first with the franchise. And then now with the Canelo, with the Caleb Plant situation. And then Canelo tried to scoop up the WBC by fighting Abney Yildirim. The motherfucking promissory note they left him to be the man. Come on, bro. He just got too much shit going on. Like, this guy is reminding me of Zorro right now. This man want to dip in and dip out. He tried to get somebody to approve him fighting Abney Yildirim for the WBC title. That used to be freaking David Benavidez. Wow. He doesn't care what the fans think of him, for real. Come back. Did you see that guy that lost a gold medal for kicking dead in the head with too much? Okay. In that particular sport, You're speaking about a discipline you have to generate speed and velocity on your kicks, right? So the mere fact that they DQ'd him, so to speak, for generating too much force because he was his target was on point and he was able to land the kick. How in the hell, when you're competing on a point system, that you generate too much power? You have protective gear on, protective gear, and they're gonna say this man generate too much power on the kick. Wow. So you're trying to tell me those spinning heel kicks or those spinning hook kicks, they supposed to dial down the speed for which they're executing that kick so it won't knock their opponent out? That's wild, man. That shit right there, man, that's wild. That's wild, for real. To hear that Plant would have gotten the biggest payday of his life does not have anything to do with all the things Canelo team. Let me see. Canelo team was putting on the table. Yeah, man, prima donna shit, dog. That's prima donna shit there, Ken. Prima donna shit. You're in a position where you can make demands and stuff like that. And of course, you the A side. Canelo is being a prima donna right now, man. You know, I'm looking at it right now. I understand why Demetrius Andrade, you know, crashed his motherfucking post-fight. I understand it. Because he feels that's what I need to do. It didn't work out for him, but I understand where he was coming from. That's one thing I can say is the white UK fighters don't duck. They like to fight. Depending on who it is, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's just strictly white UK fighters, but if we're looking at UK fighters in general, how often do they come over to the US? Not everybody can be a Lennox Lewis. You know, I mean, we're talking about Joe Joyce. You know, from my understanding, Daniel Dubois is supposed to be coming over here. I mean, how are U.S. fans are going to latch on to Daniel Dubois? The only way U.S. fans are going to latch on to Daniel Dubois is he step in there with Jared Anderson. These UK fighters have to understand you're not going to get immediate reaction from a unit, like a group, a mass, a boxing audience that have seen it all before. You're not going to get immediate praise just because you were from the UK and you're fighting in the US. Ask Anthony Joshua. Ask him how that worked out for him. You know what I'm saying? That's why Tyson Fury is over here being a clown. We always got room for clowns. But it's not like all these motherfuckers over here support Tyson Fury, but they know who he is because he's always in the streets, you know, partying, doing what he's doing. But when you're talking about Daniel Dubois and all these other fighters that's trying to come over here to the US and think, okay, this is the global market. This is where I make all my money. Man, you have to build that shit up with us because we spoil. We barely show our own fighters love. J-Lo on that new toilet shit. Okay. I think it was both of them, though. I think it was J-Lo and Mariah Carey, to be honest. I think it was J-Lo and Mariah Carey. Or it might have just been J-Lo, bro. It might have just been J-Lo. But I did hear about Mariah Carey. She don't sit on nobody else's toilet now. And they have to spray down the area and sanitize it for her to be over there. Hey, that's one person you haven't heard that had COVID. Shit. I don't know, man. Jada on that new toilet shit too requirement. Every hotel she stay in, I agree. That ass has life insurance. Not to get off topic though, I just don't understand how men can't stay with J-Lo. It must be an attitude problem because the girl got a motherfucking body like no other her age. I think it's the attitude, man. Real talk. Them Canelo fans are delusional, and them the same ones that criticize Wilder. Yeah, they truly hate. I was listening to a live stream the other day where this cat was just screaming and yelling, you know, about what Canelo has done and and what Wilder hasn't done. But when it comes down to it, Wilder's been in a single division, just like Gennady Golovkin. But yet, we already know he's reigned for over 5 years and with 11 title defenses. You know what I'm saying? Like, they always gonna be mad, man. Not all the Mexican fans are like that, but the ones who are, they show their true colors, man. And it's about to be a changing of the guard. What are they gonna do when Canelo leaves? You think Canelo is going to be coming back to boxing doing exhibitions? I don't know, because I never would have thought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. or Eric Morales. I wouldn't have thought they would be back doing exhibition bouts, but that seems to be the normality now. The way Canelo acting, he know Plant would be a tough fight. His fans trying to make it seem like he's smart for ducking, cause PBC offered a multi-fight deal. Man, he's in the sport long enough to know what it is. Why be a free agent? What is the purpose of a free agent? To put yourself in the position to excel in what? Advancing in your career. One advancement in your career is consistent with making more money, right? Being able to get bigger fights and better fights. So therefore, if you did all that and went to court to detach yourself, then when somebody offers you a 3-fight deal and you look on the list, you say, oh shit. There's no way I can fight this list of people. And he go back to his people. Okay, how can we, get one good payday with this and that and all this other shit, and then skate out of the second fight and then go to, you know what I'm saying? Like, he saw the names on that list and he's like, damn, there's some tough fights. Them some tough fights. That's what Canelo said. Them some tough fights. I don't know. I'm not trying to fight no tough fights right now. But he's saying he's going up to face Demetrius Bivol. Who else is Canelo going to fight? Nobody cares for Bivol. We know he's going anywhere near Beterbiev. I would like to see him fight Beterbiev. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see him fight Arthur Beterbiev. Yes, sir. I would like to see that. Canelo, a good fighter, but he be pulling some shit. These sanctioned bodies be allowing that shit. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Check the box. They be allowing this shit to happen, man. We know how the sanctioned bodies is. We know they're the main culprits, man. They are they're complicit with the nonsense, for real. PBC got all the fighters. I got disqualified from a Taekwondo tournament when I was a kid for roundhousing my opponent clean to the head. See, Taekwondo and karate, it's according to what tournament you in, man, that you have to buy. Like Taekwondo, for instance, you can get so-called penalized, so to speak, for throwing too many punches in Taekwondo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a full contact sport, but they want you mostly to use your legs. And tournament base is different. It's according to where you competing at. But I hear you there. I hear you, bro, for real. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk in the building, man. Salute to you, brother. What's good? Appreciate you pulling up. And for those of you that's in the chat, man, check out Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Go subscribe to his channel. For those of you that's already over there, continue to support the content. Maximize it. The brother be talking some truth over there, man. Be kicking out that hot boxing shit, man. So go over there and support Supreme Beast Boxing Talk, man. Hope everything is well with you, my brother. J-Lo got issues. Yes, she look good. J-Lo and Halle Berry be running through niggas. Listen, J8. If I could be one on the list, dog, tell me this. If you had to choose between J-Lo and Halle Berry right now, knowing what you knowing about them switching out, they be switching out shoes, right? Which one, if you had the opportunity right now, would you choose to be with? J-Lo or Halle Berry? I know it's off topic, but goddamn it, them two names together in a comment, man, you have to ask a question. He thought maybe if I keep asking for shit, they'll say no, but it backfired. Yeah, man. But answer me this, Supreme Beast. Do you think he purposely was being antagonistic, knowing he continued to ask for shit? Would that kind of play a role in Canelo not actually wanting to fight with Caleb Plant? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the last belt on his list for undisputed. So do you believe he was just being overbearing? He wanted to frustrate them so the fight wouldn't work? Because he's a free agent, right? So if he truly wanted to become undisputed in his first division, why make it difficult by being a prima donna? Why make it difficult if you're about to solidify a notch on your boxing career that you haven't even accomplished yet? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's definitely going to be a tough fight for him because Caleb Plant ain't playing. But what was Canelo trying to do, actually? What was the plan, dog? Who do we point the finger at? At least Tiger Woods' ex-wife sold her toilet before she demanded a new one. Now, I'm not even going to talk about her because that female wasn't playing right there. Females swinging golf clubs like that when their husband is one of the most elite golf, players in the world, in history. Shit. That's one. Hey, I wouldn't even be taking her for lessons. I would have said, hey, babe, hey, sign up for that yoga class over there and go stretch it out. Because Tiger Woods had a stable full of females, so he was out there, laying it down. So hey, shit. His wife knew what was up, man. But you haven't heard shit from her. She got out of that deal great. Speaking of overseas, dude, I just watched Calzaghe versus Kessler. Yeah, great win by Calzaghe. Yeah, shout out to Joe Calzaghe, bro. Shout out to Joe Calzaghe. If anybody tell me how many losses he had before he retired? How many losses Calzaghe had? Nobody even talk about that, dog. I'll take 70-30. If I know I can win, depending on the purse, 30% of millions. Everybody don't think like that, Hodges. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, dog. He probably look at Caleb Plant really as a peon. He said, you're not even on my level. You haven't even really been never been a multi-division champion. You just sitting around holding on to an IBF title. The guy you defeated has pretty much been defeated by other guys, that's in the super middleweight. I mean, he don't have respect for Caleb Plant like Caleb has for himself. We just seeing Canelo true colors, bro. Seriously. That's what we seeing, man. The thing is, J-Lo seemed like her conversation trash. Like she be saying dumb shit all day. I think J-Lo is so demanding. Really, I think her attitude is shit, man, for real. I think J-Lo is very picky. I think she's extremely high maintenance. Extremely high maintenance. J-Lo to me seems like she's the one to cut off to the Panani at any given time over dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like. You make her mad, you ain't getting shit. J-Lo seemed like the type of female that'll cut that shit off and fight you if you even try to be affectionate. Jay say Holly Berry no contest. Well, guess what? You better have your life insurance. God damn it. You better have your life insurance. You dealing with Holly Berry. Because you know damn well if shit go left with Holly Berry, she gonna call up the crew. I'm not feeling well. So punch me. He hit me in the head with a brick. He took a baseball bat and hit me in the leg. Can you come fight him? You know what I'm saying? That's Holly Berry on some damn. I'm serious, man. I'm serious, dog. Holly Berry is a first 48 waiting to happen, bro. For real. I'm serious, man. I'm serious, dog. Holly Berry. Look, for a long time, I used to consider Holly Berry as one of the most beautiful ones that's out there. But when I started finding out the relationship she had with Wesley Snipes, David Justice, who one of my favorite baseball players down here in the A at the time, the way she met David, she basically got her people to go out there and tell him that she wanted to meet him. And he was like, Holly Berry want to meet me? What? They start dating. David Justice said that is the most wickedest woman he ever met in life. David Justice is a quiet dude. Like, come on, for him to say that's the craziest woman he ever met in his life, y'all. I would suggest that you reconsider J8. Because I haven't heard J-Lo having those issues. You just know J-Lo can't hold down a relationship. She go from goddamn Ben Affleck. You know what I'm saying? And then she get with goddamn A-Rod, who has just as much money as her. And then she leave A-Rod, go back to Ben Affleck. Man, come on, bros. J-Lo had a leak pic looking crazy a few months ago. I don't know if they edited the photo. Holly always looked good, nice body and face and everything. Go ahead, dog. Go live when you in that. You sitting on the couch. Go live, dog. But don't go live if she had you over there in the kitchen cooking dinner. You know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself out there, dog. J-Lo had you over there cooking dinner. You know what I'm saying? Butt naked. Food ready yet? And you got 5 minutes. Else I'm getting that belt. You said dude had a stable. He did, man. Had a stable. Tiger Woods had a stable of females, dog. He had a stable of females. What they say, he had a sex addiction? No, Tiger Woods was just a hoe. That's all. Ward beat Kessler ass too. Yep. Yes, sir. Tiger Woods a millionaire golfer, and they thought he ain't have no holes. Man, he had holes, bro. Tiger Woods had holes for sure. A lot of them. He was a freak. PBC deal could be a potential $150 million or more for Canelo versus Plant. Talk to him, dog. Spence Benavidez. Yes. But within that, potentially he can take his second loss. So which one do he want to do? He want the money? Or do he want to protect? Do he want to go in there and potentially face a motherfucking murderous row? You know what I'm saying? Let's just say when it gets to Benavidez, I don't agree with him facing Spence before Benavidez, because Spence is at 47 right now. I don't give a damn what he was, moonlighting at before he decided to become a welterweight permanently. But when it comes down to it, Benavidez, a former WBC champion, super middleweight, he deserves a shot at Canelo before Spence. That's just my opinion. But solid point, dog. Tiger had the wrong holes, though. Shit, he didn't have the wrong holes. He had the right ones, dog. Tiger got himself in trouble. He had too many. You put a lot of horses in the stable, what's going to happen? Them motherfuckers going to start getting rowdy and shit. And then before you know it, they're going to start kicking the gates. And that shit pop over. All them motherfuckers going to be out in the open. Man, you're right. She is the type to say no. Several times and shit. I can't do that. Yeah, man, cutting off that is an automatic free hall pass. Free automatic free hall pass to go to the streets. If your man is willing and able to give you that affection that you're looking for, and yeah, physical contact, I'm giving you the attention that you need, and she takes it upon herself to cut it off, that's a free hall pass to say, you know what? I'm going up to the grocery store. I'll be back in my 5 hours. I'm just going to look for some shit. Not the grocery store on this side of town, but they just opened up one that's 45 minutes out over here. They're having a special. Well, let me go. No, I'm good. I'm just going over there, man. I might, stop by this. Just take some time going for a drive or whatever. But I'll be back, though. I'll be back. Why are you dressed up so much? Oh, they're just having a special. I might stop by the mall or whatever. Man, I swear to God, dog. Man, she is one of them ones you upset and she will file a fake police report. Man, you ain't never lied on that. Holly Berry is dangerous, dog. She's dangerous. They have 2 boyfriends. The 2 baby daddies fighting. That's dangerous, man. She dangerous. It just sounds like Canelo team wanted Plant to basically sell his soul for his fight. But with Al as an advisor, Plant saw right through it, all the fine print. Now let me correct some on some y'all may not know, right? Al Heyman isn't an advisor. Al Heyman, if he's an advisor, that means he's not binded contractually to the fighters. They can just bail out when they feel like it. Al Heyman is a consultant. Al Heyman is a consultant. I know what you heard, but I'm telling you from people that is close to Al Heyman. Like, I know people love getting on here talking about they talk to this, and this. I do too. And I've spoken to some OGs that's next to Al Heyman. Pictures and everything. I'm talking about them, me having hour-long conversation when I'm on site and shit. They say, yeah, it's lightful. It's just enlightening for people to say he's an advisor, but he's a consultant. Al Heyman ain't doing this shit for free. You just can't go in there and have Al Heyman doing his shit and then leave. No. He getting paid too. An advisor, a fighter can leave whenever they feel like. Let's see. Facts, fatal attraction shit. I don't even think it's even fatal attraction that D Hodges. I just think she has to be domineering. She has to be in control. Because I could finish his career with a donut. Absolutely. That was my whole point, with a donut. A healthy one at that. Edward, what's good, man? Salute to you. First time seeing you over here in the chat. Salute. What's good? Remember Michael Jordan told Tiger, just tell them hoes you Tiger Woods. That's what he did. Tiger Woods. Shit. They knew who Tiger was when he came up on the scene, dog. But I do believe Tiger, for him to have that accident recently and get injured the way he did, I don't know, he might be on some medications. I really couldn't tell you, bro. I hate, putting up here and giving, putting a stigma on someone for being on medication, because it's wrong to do that. It's wrong to do that because you're not qualified to even evaluate someone psychologically. But yet, their actions, you wonder why Tiger Woods ran off the street and wrecked his damn SUV. You wonder why that happened. He had them unforbidden holes. That's why his image took that hit. So I look at it like this, right? When did golf ever have an image? Like, let's be honest with ourselves there, Kwame. When did golf ever have an image besides on the green? It has an image on the green because, for one, you have to be quiet while the golfer is taking a shot. Okay, that's an image. That is, one of the rules. You know what I'm saying? That is a format. That is a protocol. It's a classy sport, so to speak. You dress up. You don't come in there with no motherfucking skinny jeans on and some goddamn dead zone and shit. Some dead stocks, damn new Jordans and shit. You don't do that. You come in there dressed to impress, and you go in there and try to win. All right. But outside of golf, what is it? It's no motherfucking morals and principles. So Tiger Woods out here horning around. That's what it is. That's just like boxing. Man, boxers go through shit, man, and be with different females all the time. It don't have an image. It doesn't. What about basketball? No image. The only time that they had an image was when they had to come to the basketball court. And they say, instead of y'all coming here looking like AI, we want you to come here looking like a church just opened up on the damn corner around the street. We want you to wear a motherfucking suit and tie to the damn game and shit. They want to make it seem like you have a corporate job outside of basketball. That's the only time it changed. But as far as outside boxing, man, they do what the fuck they want to. Hip hop do what the fuck they want to. I don't think his image took a hit. I just think since he's a high profile athlete, the way it went down with him having a white wife, that's the only reason. If Tiger Woods would have had a black wife, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. Come on, man. Look what happened to Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart got caught up in some shit with one female. And then come to find out, it was one of his boys in his inner circle that set his ass up. You know what I'm saying? And try to extort money or whatever, right? So what if his boy wouldn't have set him up? Would he have ever been caught? Did Miko, I think her name, Miko, did she run away from Kevin? No, because that's where the money at. She stayed by his side, bro. Tiger just hit the wrong rich dude side piece, point blank period. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. That's true words right there. Because once you look, you out here collecting and building the motherfucking stable, putting them saddles on them motherfuckers, and you riding their ass every time you get a chance. Sooner or later, them motherfuckers, them females are gonna roll back into they primary stable with that saddle on, and they're gonna get asked the question, hey, let me talk to you for a second. Whose saddle is that on your back? That's not my saddle. How dare you? That's not my saddle. Who's done strapped you in? I'm telling you, man. Facts, Ken, somebody found out their daughter sound different on voicemail and was upset. For real, man. Tiger was out there goddamn scratching holes up, boy. For real. Before he know it, Tiger Woods stable was goddamn 15 strong. They wanted that. They wanted that work. And Tiger was out there taking them motherfucking blue chews. They was taking the blue pill, goddamn, keeping that shit right. Canelo need the judges, contract cows, ring size, and choice and length of camp. Whoever beats him at this point deserves a national holiday. Man, yeah. And that's the problem that I got with Canelo. Everything you just said. He's putting all these stipulations in there when you're the top pound for pound fighter. Damn, you're the top pound for pound fighter, and you're just putting all these stipulations to make it tough. You want a short fight camp. You want this. You want that. You want to get paid all this money. Even if your opponent drop out, you still want the same amount of money. Man, come on, bro. You ain't trying to fight. You ain't trying to fight Caleb. Canelo need to just put that. Salute. Tiger had the image. Tiger had the image, not the sport. He lost endorsements. Remember that? Yeah, he did. But Tiger Woods is still rich, man. He did lose endorsements, but he's still rich. Real talk. Real talk. Tiger's still rich. He got them back, though. Salute. Yeah, they just look. What is that doing? When athletes lose endorsements temporarily? It's damage control, bro. They just did damage control on Tiger Woods. Hey, Tiger, we're going to have to stop supporting you for a minute, but really we still going to be supporting you. We're just going to do it for the public, this, that, and the other, but you're still in our good graces, man. This ain't no sanctified goddamn sport. Life is full of sinners there, Tiger. We know you had to go out there and get your hoes, but we supported you in your hoes. You just can't goddamn allow hoes to keep the saddle on their back when you finish riding that. Take your saddle off and put it somewhere. Purchase a motherfucking storage unit, Tiger. And you can't be using the same saddle for all these hoes, Tiger. You gotta switch it up, dog. If Tiger was pure white, they would have swept it under the rug. I don't know about that. I think regardless of what he was, if it came out, he would have been in some shit. For real. But yeah, I take in consideration because Tiger really never claimed black. Okay, let's get that straight right now. Tiger never claimed black. I forgot what he claimed, but he has the right to do that because, you know, his dad being black, his mom being Asian. You know what I'm saying? The brat was one of Allen Iverson's side pieces. Crazy. How lucky was AI? God damn. Because look, I look at the brat as one of the most sexiest hip hop artists ever, female wise. The brat was sexy, dog. But I've seen the brat several times. Like the brat don't play. The brat is one of those girls who would go to prison for cracking you in the head. Real talk. The brat is like Remy Ma is one of those girls you don't play with. Tiger's an idiot for driving in the first place. You saying Tiger got all that money, he should have had a chauffeur, huh? But sometimes the chauffeur, they be dropping goddamn, they be dry snitching too, goddamn it. And fuck golf. They've been on some don't ask, don't tell shit from the beginning. he claimed Blazine. Yeah, black and Asian. Yeah, Tiger a bozo for that. He was, man, because we all know what black do to anything. You put a drop of black in there, and that shit's turning the whole motherfucking damn pot a certain color. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had the money, he had the fame, and he had the hoes. In the end, he did lose his wife or whatever. He had to come out the pocket, but he survived. You know what I'm saying? His mom probably said, Tiger, you know, I didn't raise you like that, Tiger. You know, you have to represent the family better than that. If you're going to have your hoes in order. You understand me, Tiger? Order. I did not raise you to be out here looking crazy and putting a bad look on the family's name. You know what I'm saying? Shit. His mom told him. Tiger was out here having fun, y'all. Shit. I'm not black, I'm OJ. Hey, that shit true though. OJ wasn't claiming the brothers until he got his ass in trouble, goddammit. He wasn't claiming the brothers until he got his ass in trouble. But one thing I can say about OJ, he served his time, and at least he's able to be out here in public. I mean, come on, man. Imagine having all that time where they were still looking at you, trying to find out. You go to trial for one of the most gruesome, heinous crimes, you know what I'm saying, on a celebrity, placed on a celebrity, right? Your ex-wife and her current boyfriend is damn near decapitated, and they believe you did it. You get off, and then somehow, some way, you lose your noggin, and you want to commit an armed robbery to get your shit back. They was waiting on you to come back in the courtroom, and sure enough, they sentenced him. He went, served his time, and got out. Bill Cosby. I'm glad to see him back out too. I'm not gonna get into the specifics on if he didn't. I just know Bill Cosby got me through my early years. I used to love the shit out of Fat Albert. knowing that he was the voice behind multiple characters on that shit. A lot of y'all don't know what Fat Albert was, but I do. When we only had 3 channels in this bitch with no internet, no cell phones, that's what I was watching. Hey, it's Fat Albert. Shout out to Bill Cosby. God damn, man. I missed that shit. Now people don't even watch TV like that. Tiger Woods versus OJ. Who you rather have at the barbecue? To be honest, I'd rather have OJ, bro. Because OJ, from what I hear, he a talker. I don't think Tiger Woods is really gonna interact with people that's not on his level. You know what I'm saying? If I was to walk up to Tiger Woods and say, "How you doing, Tiger? WCS? I just want to do a short interview on just, talk about certain things." He said, "Not right now. You see that lady over there? That's my publicist. Go over there, my PR. Go over there and talk to her. She'll set an appointment for you." But OJ, you go up there and say, "Hey," and you give him a compliment. You know what I'm saying? The man, the myth, the legend, OJ Simpson, is good to meet you. Hey, how you doing? OJ gonna talk to you, dog. I'm serious. I think OJ will talk to you. As long as you don't ask him about Nicole. Come on, man. As long as you don't ask him about that shit, you good. If you ask him about his early commercial when he was running through the airport, jumping over motherfucking shit, oh man, that was a great time. I still had my legs underneath me and I can still get up. Right now, I'm shot. I'll definitely pick OJ at the barbecue, dog. Shit, for real. And let's not get it twisted. OJ still getting hoes at his age now. Let's not get it twisted. OJ getting hoes, man. Real talk. I want to give a shout out to the Bronze Bomber Nation, man. Bomb Squad Nation. Bronze Bomber. Man, the fight is going down, hopefully, in October. Yeah, we still full-fledged, man. We know who the motherfucking scoundrel is. So shout out to Deontay Wilder. They continue to train him and Malik Scott. Shout out to him, man. We got to see this fight. And to Tyson Fury, stay your ass off the microphone. If you are having those issues which you continue to talk about, stop making Twitter, tweets and shit and coming at Deontay when he ain't saying shit to you. And then you put a tweet out there and put mental healthness, hashtag mental healthness, ask and all that. If you have mental healthness, stay your ass off the mic and seek help. That's all. Stop getting your ass on here talking shit, bro. But my people, I've been on here for a minute, 3 hours to say, on this Sunday. Hey, it's been a pleasure as always, man. I appreciate y'all pulling up. You know what I'm saying? Sir Ken, man. Salute to you. Keep on handling your business out there. Best of wishes to you. Hope that shit clear up for you. He says silence is golden. Absolutely. Mitch, D. Hodges, Hoover. You know what I'm saying? Kwame dropped by. T.O. Andrew. J8 was in the building. Big Dog earlier. You know what I'm saying? I think I said Mitch already. Appreciate everyone who pulled up, man. Y'all continue to hold it down and support the channel, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. And also, if you didn't subscribe to the channel, pass the word to somebody who may not have did it already. I'm out.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 inch for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom.